Hello, hello, good evening, everybody. This is rather impromptu, I know. Hold on, let me just get my thing down here. Okay. Hi, good evening, everybody. This is Jones Cat 79, aka Chris, joined with my usual co host, Erica, aka Dark Neon.
Oh, greetings, true believers.
Oh, yeah,
Huh, that's been a while since I said that line.
I should have, instead of my, I guess, thanks to the Jurassic tours, I'm so used to my good day, good day, good day. And high ground, I was always hello there. But I remember when we did Spider Man and Wolverine, we kept doing the greetings, true believers. Well, that's definitely appropriate for this time because I'm sure, as you're all aware of, maybe or not, maybe you've seen some advertising. Another Pedro Pascal movie is coming out this week, and it's probably going to be a big hit. Of course, I'm talking about Eddington. I'm sure you all heard of that movie.
Yeah, sure. That's the one we're talking about. Yeah,
Okay,
we
yeah,
we
yeah.
dressed up in these like fabulous, fantastic costumes to talk about Edinburgh, whatever.
Oh yeah, I'm joking. Of course, we're here to talk about the Fantastic Four, but not the first steps yet because we haven't seen it yet. But I gotta say, I'm very excited. I'm hearing a lot of buzz. Even people who normally like are a little bit like, Marvel, are kind of like, holy moly, like. So if that can work for us, I'm in for a good time. Let's just hope. Let's just hope because my very good friend here would make a habit of watching the it's some random guy videos of I'm a Marvel, I'm a DC. And there's one in particular, infamous one, where she left a comment many years, 5 years, 3 years ago, that said, "Okay, if Disney cannot stick the landing on this one, this series is cursed. Just drop it."
I mean, can you blame me? Especially since what we're going to be covering today is actually the first steps is not the well, obviously it's no surprise to no one. This is not the first time that Hollywood tried to do a Fantastic Four movie, or the second, or even technically the third.
So what's amazing is that First Steps will be the fourth attempt to come out, the fourth one being made, and also the fourth film to be officially released. Technically, there's five films that have been made, but only four of them have actually seen release. I'm sure you wish one of them had stayed unreleased, and the one that didn't get a shot actually got its due.
It's such a backwards, bizarro situation.
Oh well.
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Oh yeah. So, like I said though, Fantastic Four. I kind of knew about them, but my first exposure to them ever in anything was actually the Spider-Man game, but just the Human Torch. But my actual proper introduction to them was actually about 20 years ago, when there was all the hype being generated for the then upcoming first family movie, The Fantastic Four by Tim Story. I mean, it was part of the magazine that I bought, that Revenge of the Sith thing with the cover with that Hayden Christensen is face to face with young Darth Vader, and that got my interest. And there was the Fantastic Four, and I'm like, oh, and I had seen like images of them in, like, some back comics, in the some of the games, like Marvel vs. Capcom has, one of their bad guys, the Doctor Doom. Like, so while I'm not as intimately informed with the Fantastic Four, like say the X-Men or Spider-Man and all that stuff, they are still very important to Marvel's history.
As opposed to me, where my first introduction to Fantastic Four was pretty much like the same vein that I was introduced to Superman. It was through Cartoon Network, where back in the day, they were kind of really filling up their lineup with the collection of cavalcade cartoons, and one of them at I think probably like the early mornings would be showcasing some Hanna-Barbera action cartoons. So one of them was the '60s Fantastic Four show.
Oh yeah, that's the one with the famous Reed stops Magneto with a wooden gun, right?
I think I, maybe I haven't seen all of them actually, but you might be talking about the '70s one where they actually omitted Johnny Storm because they thought they were gonna have Human Torch rights issues because there was technically another Human Torch that predated the Fantastic Four. it's a complicated story, but basically that '70s cartoon had a different fourth member, which should be funny enough. We'll be seeing his first live action appearance in First Steps, which should be the Herbie robot.
Yeah. So, yeah, they do have a long history, and I started to learn more about them. I mean, after I watched the movies, I thought, okay, that was a thing, and yeah, and then I saw the second one way, way later, way after the fact, right around Fan 4 second, I think about it, but it was actually a lot of stuff I also learned, which I think you did too, was from atop the fourth wall, where the Fantastic Four would be roped into such crazy situations, usually in the event comics, and I think it leads to the running meme that a lot of people are well aware of. And I mean, I thought the fourth one responsible for it, but it definitely highlights this famous meme about Reed Richards being the world's dumbest smart guy, because a lot of the catastrophes and calamities kind of happen because of his innate curiosity.
Whether it be the main canon or that's the ultimate version, it was just the poor guy. And Link Heart never even recovered his eventual turn to evil, becoming the Maker.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think he would have. Would he possibly have put that in his top 10 dumbest heroes becoming villains type list? Because I remember he did one of those a long time ago.
I think it might have happened after the fact, because that list kind of came up like in the mid 2000s. So
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure there was a covering. I mean, don't forget, Maker Reed Richards is responsible for Marvel Zombies even being a thing. I'm not making that up. That one of his innate probes got hit with stuff and went through many multiverses, and one of those multiverses ended up releasing that plague that eventually led to the Marvel Zombies.
uh, yeah, so to turn back the clock to what the origins of the Fantastic Four are, Stan Lee originally, when he was working, he had done a lot of comics and stories. So at first he was doing okay, but at times he felt like he was just not really feeling it. He was to the point where he was kind of like admitting to his wife Joan, I feel like I'm gonna have to quit because I'm just not feeling it. I know I could do something better, something different, but they just put me in these sidelines. And Joan Lee of all people said, "You know, Stan, if you're gonna quit anyway, why don't you just do what you want to do? The worst thing they'll do is they'll fire you, which is what you're hoping to do anyway." So.
Yeah, so go for broke, she basically said. And God, she really was such an important figure to his life, and some of the best things that us comic fans know probably came from her support. It's kind of like how Stephen King's wife was able to convince him to turn that unfinished manuscript into, I think it was Pet Cemetery.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, not to get too sidetracked, but point is, after they moved into a new place in Maine, of course, it's by a busy highway, and he has his little tyke on the front, and the tyke was happening to walk toward the street just as a big old 18-wheeler was coming by, and Steven just took off like a rocket and got him away, and he got him just in time. But there was always that little thing in the back of his mind, like, what if I never got
But
there in
if
time? So it went from there to him creating a thing that kept him up all night when he wrote it. I mean, and when he saw it, he was horrified that he kept the thing in his desk, thinking like, "Damn, this is too much even for me." He thought. And then when he needed a new book to publish, his wife remembered it and said, well, "You got that other one you made. Why don't you end up turning that?" And that became a bestseller. I mean, and we all know. I mean, Pet Cemetery jokes. It even made its way into the DC extended universe via the theatrical cut of Justice League. But it's based off the movie, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So Joan pretty much led to him getting this made, and not only he wasn't alone in crafting this. I mean, he got that enlisted the help of one of the guys who's considered the king of comics himself.
uh, Jack Kirby.
Yes, Jack Kirby. I mean, he got that title way after the fact, but people look back at his works, and he is just as influential in shaping the modern genre of comic books as any of the other big names you can throw out there, like Moore and stuff. But yeah, Kirby, him and Stan really did come together to really make this work. And does the Fantastic Four predate his big creation, Spider Man?
Oh yeah, by a few iterations, I think. But yeah, so basically, he put the book out and producers his publisher said, "Stan, this is great. The books are just flying off the shelves. You gotta get more." So Stan pretty much just stayed on, and he would eventually create the Marvel Universe or the foundations of it at the very least.
Well,
And that would lead us to years and years and years later, where people were thinking, "Wow, maybe we should turn all these Marvel characters into comic book movies." Of course, sadly, the first attempt would be with the Duck of all things, but that's neither here nor there.
oh yeah. So, turn the time back way further. For a lot of you kids, this is want to sound like, in my day, uh, there was no Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it today. We're still in the infancy of that thing. It's only going to turn 20 years in like three, so we're 17 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe being a thing. But there was a time when there wasn't any Marvel Universe. It was just these characters were licensed, and they thought let's make a movie out of them every now and then. And as you all know, that was a never-ending struggle. I mean, don't forget that they were going to try to make a Spider-Man movie with Jim Cameron, and then Stan Lee went to says, "Have you ever heard of?" I mean, it was going to be X Men at first. It was going to be X Men. Chris Claremont and everything was ready to go with him, and then Stan tells Jim, "Have you ever heard of Spider Man?" And it just spiraled from there. That would eventually hit a wall too. But I don't know what it is about how Marvel would always be the ones that would be like movies where they're kryptonite. I mean, the best they could do is get on TV with some questionable productions like you got the Incredible Hulk, but every now and then you'd get like Thor would show up or Daredevil, and you'd be like, wow, this is like some of the chintziest stuff I've ever seen. But I mean, they made it into cartoons and TV, but they just had a hard time making it onto the big screen. And like you said, one of the biggest offerings they ever made started with a Howard the Duck thing that even George Lucas probably admits maybe we've gone too far in producing that.
He'll still claim that he did that rather than have anything to do with the Star Wars Holiday Special. That's how bad that thing was.
I think you'd rather watch that than what we're going to talk about later, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We keep going there. But yeah, uh, Fantastic Four. I mean, at a point, Marvel would eventually run into financial woes that would require them having to sell off licenses to some of their most big name characters. Your Spider Mans, your X Men's, and then they'd have some of their B list guys, C list guys too. Like you're like, wait, Captain America and Iron Man were considered like your C stringers. Well, back then, yeah, because Captain America was seen as just an old time war propaganda guy that's still running around, and Iron Man was an industrialist that Stan wrote with the intention for people to hate, but all these women would write how much they like to, you know, soothe Tony Stark's broken heart. And you're like, well, that backfired. So, but yeah, like your biggest names for Marvel were Spider Man and the X Men and the Hulk, because those are the guys that kept on selling with TV shows and merchandise and everything like that. So you would think the first family would be among the top of those like crown jewels.
We were this close, but some executives just couldn't even think that, yeah, this isn't really going to work for us.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time, a lot of these productions were put into a way just to hold on to rights. Like that's the seedy underbelly of all it is that, you know, uh, you're gonna sit on it, and then you'd be like, wait, the thing's expiring. Well, throw something together. I mean, Sony played that game for a long time. Fox, infamous for it. So people keep saying, okay, the rights are going to expire. They're going to go back to the rightful owners. Maybe things could actually work out. And they throw out something, and you go, "Well, wait, what?"
A bitch.
And then they don't even sometimes release the stuff. It's just, I know people are get shocked at like what happened with like Acme versus Coyote and Batgirl, but hey, Kitty, I'm in the middle of something. I know you. Okay, get up here. Okay, but yeah, like the I'm just saying is that it's not uncommon where you get all this stuff that would go into production, and then they would. This one was just to be a game of football to keep the ball rolling rather than actually do something, and they didn't even tell the people that it was going to be it. So it's like it's a very sad story, all in the name of
Of course, yeah, of course, you're talking about the very infamous, the lauded, legendary myth that is the Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie.
yes, all that existed of it before were pictures of people who were on the site at the time taking pictures and putting it under there are fantastic cinema magazines like Starlog and stuff like that saying, "Hey, we heard there's a Fantastic Four movie finally being made," and this was the '90s.
Oh,
So
and there was also, I believe, a trailer that was attached to the VHS release of Carnosaur, I think.
Corman production, of course. So one thing about Roger Corman, he makes them fast and he makes them cheap. That's like that's the guy you go to, and he knows how to stretch a dollar. Like if he can build a very good set, you don't have to trash it down at the end of the day. Just repurpose it for another one of your other movies. And he was big in adapting all the HP. I mean the Telltale Heart and all those type of was that H.P. Lovecraft? No, not H.P. Lovecraft, but Edgar Allan Poe. He did a lot of the Edgar Allan Poe adaptations, and like I said, but he made a name for himself for making cheap, schlocky, exploitative films of the any era. Like I think that I mean, or making or finding out budding talent that would become big names. Like he did an early adaptation of Little Shop of Horrors that featured a very young Jack Nicholson in his first role as the guy who goes to get his teeth done by the dentist.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, Roger Corman is a big name. His influence on the industry cannot be understated. Hell, he had like a parody character of him appear in Scream 3 in the form of John Milton, played by my favorite android, Lance Henriksen. And hell, Roger Corman himself is in that scene when he's talking about people's concerns about the level of violence in cinema as contributing to violence in society. Like you see Corman, and I go, oh shit, it's Roger. But yeah, so Roger had a producer come to him named Bob Eichenberg, I believe, Eichenberg, and
Yeah, that sounds right.
yeah, and he claimed he had the backing and the rights for Fantastic Four, and I think at that point it was probably the most money that had been put in a Roger Corman production. I mean, it's still popsicle sticks and chewing gum, but it is they put a lot of effort and they went out to get like actual people who had some acting talent to go in and be on these, and the result was they kind of tinkered around with a few things for rights issues reasons. Like one of the bad guys, the jeweler had to be a repurposed mole man rather than the actual mole man himself. Just because you have the rights for some things, you don't have the rights for everything in that universe. So, like they got Doctor Doom, they got the Fantastic Four, the things that mattered, but they couldn't like just talk about Captain America or Hulk in the same thing because they don't have the rights for that.
Yeah, unless you're apparently uh broadly mentioning Doctor Strange, the Spider-Man movie. That's fine.
hmm But yeah, so the idea was that they would make this movie, make it in a fast turnaround, and they were off to the races. But what they didn't know was that this was actually all a bargaining ploy to try to get a higher price from a bigger studio to buy the rights, and to make the movie was to say that it was in production was allowed that clock to stay open a little longer for them to eventually get to a lucrative deal and then sell the thing, and then they got a cease and desist. I mean, there is a very great documentary on YouTube and other sites you could find called Doomed, the story of the Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie that I very highly recommend everybody check out because it's not fair. You can tell everybody
It's
involved,
not fucking fair, man.
they put their heart into it. You can tell, and they know that. Okay, this was a bit, you know, kitschy, but they treated it as seriously as if they were doing a Cecil B. DeMille program, a Ten Commandments type thing. And they never look down at the material. They know, like, of course we have like a stretchy dude. Of course we got a guy who catches on fire. There's a guy with metal knight armor and a metal mask making grand speeches. It is a little bit on its ear, but at the same time, they respected the material right and think, oh, we're gonna change it because we think we're better than what came before. So they at least honored it. I mean, sadly, it was never to be
Um,
seen in
I
theaters.
I feel like it's almost kind of a little bit like way ahead of its time that we wouldn't see that kind of earnest filmmaking since I would dare have to say James Gunn's Superman movie.
Yeah,
Because
they
even
did.
that one was pretty hokey and colorful and outlandish, but like they didn't care. They were everyone involved was having fun with it. Hell, even to the point where James Gunn, I kid you not, apparently the test screen audiences did not like Superman saving the squirrel. They said, "Oh, why the hell is Superman's wasting time saving a squirrel? It's wasting time." James initially was gonna cut it, but eventually went, And I really miss that scroll. Yep, fuck it. I'm just gonna save it right in there.
Well, yeah,
So yes, it is hokey. It is weird. It is ridiculous.
but it's something the character would do.
It should be in the, the source material. I know a lot of people like to throw the excuse of, well, you should make you should make everything for the comic books 1-to-1. Like, yeah, but you're calling it a comic book movie. You're calling it like a drama piece. You're not calling it like a sci-fi horror exploitative like
Because yes,
bleh. It's a comic book movie. It's literally like pulp and print made live action in real flesh and blood.
yeah, but yeah. So like I said, though, this one was very earnest, and the poor guy's got a cease and desist, and to find out later that the rights have been sold, and that you're not going to be able to even premiere this or release this. So, it was considered lost. All we had to exist were those set photos that went around, that showed them in costume, and there was like a most of their money probably went into the thing because it looked pretty impressive for a low budget film.
Oh yeah,
And
it looked really good, especially the way the animate the mouth movements.
wait, and then eventually during convention circuits, I guess somebody must have had a work print or a bootleg somewhere because they started circulating them as a VHS tape and eventually DVDs. You know, whenever you go to a Comic Con, you'd see like those big poster shops. Sometimes they have like a DVD corner, and in those DVDs they would have like TV shows that never received a proper home release. So you would see like V and stuff like old animated shows that never got a proper, like you see all that stuff in DVD sets as if
The
they
Star
were,
Wars or the Star Wars Holiday Special.
which I'm sure George Lucas wishes he could still compensate, especially the Hammer himself, but he's gonna be up all night unless he has Mjolnir. But yeah, like I said though, that's when it started circulating, and eventually with the advent of the internet, you would eventually see people eventually upload the whole dang movie. So then the unseen Fantastic Four was finally able to be seen, and there's some people that they say it's all right, or yeah, it's a little hokey, but you can tell the heart was in the right place. And I mean, but for
Certainly, a lot of people come back to it after certain other adaptations come. One very notorious one will catch up later, and go, you know what? I'd rather have the hokiness rather than like the whatever thing it was.
yeah, so yeah, the like I said, I recommend the Doomed documentary. It is very great, and the actors tell you their honest feelings and everything. And there's some real impressive talent that went out to work in other stuff. I mean, Joseph Culp, kills it as Doctor Doom in this. But I think we should probably break down. So of course, it's actually a good retelling of the origin, pretty faithful to the idea of you got four explorers going into space when they get bombarded by cosmic rays, and their ship explodes, and you think, oh no, they've died, but no, they end up back on Earth, seemingly fine, only to find out that their bodies have been radically changed. Reed Richards can now stretch himself with an insane flexibility. Johnny Storm, the hothead, can now, cause fires and ignite.
Only for like one specific scene later in the movie to actually be fully engulfed in flame, still a-okay and able-bodied.
And then there was, of course, Sue Storm, the one female member of the group, ends up finding that she can turn completely invisible.
I think she also kind of uses force fields.
In
I
one
don't feel
scene,
like they ever utilized that.
one scene, she had a force field.
Ah.
And then, of
But
course,
of course, then there was Ben, the ever-loved blue-eyed Ben Grimm, the thing.
yeah, who, well, once, an all American hero ends up turning into a big, rocky, monstrous form that. Okay, I don't know how I'd really react to seeing a rock monster in real life, but man, I don't think he's that, like, whoa, as the way people are making him out. Like, if he's got, like, acid for skin or something. But I don't know, like, that goes with the character. Because, I mean, there's some times you see the thing and
I
say,
mean,
hmm,
I feel like at least this version I can understand because like the way it's like lips and face kind of move, you have to go like, how's that stone moving? What's going on
on
with
top of
that?
that, he does look like he's ready to make a bruising. He looks like he's ready to, like, he always has a
He
perpetual
looks like he's
snarl.
howling. He's howling a lot.
Hmm.
It's comic accurate though. It's the most bizarre thing.
On top of that, guy's actually short. I know we're used to pictures of the Thing being this massive hulking of a mountain of a man, but the Thing stood, head and shoulders with the rest of the team back in the day. So anybody who says the Thing should be bigger than anything, well, it depends on the artist.
Mhm.
All right,
But
so
yeah, yeah, they all turn out pretty good, especially considering the fact that their rocket ship looks uh pretty. Wow, I guess that's a really splurge on their budget there.
yeah, it was just taped up cardboard and foam and silver tape to look
Oh
like
my god, let's
agreed.
not even talk about the space suits, or I guess rather repurposed alien robot Halloween costumes.
Yeah, but like I said though, they the thing is you get to see them really interact and see that yes, these people do feel like very close friends, maybe even family to a point. And you know, we
Maybe
first.
one of the or even the foster home folks say, "Look at you, the Fantastic Four."
hmm Yeah, that's actually Mrs. Storm. And what's great is that like I said, they do establish there's a history. They show that Reed was in top of college when a great celestial event was going to happen, and him with an ambitious student try an experiment to harness his power, only for that to go way wrong. And poor Victor Von
I
Doom.
wonder who that other partner would be.
Victor Von Doom, played by Joseph Culp, ends up taking a nice little lightning bath. Like I think he took it better than Mace Windu did.
He really did. I mean, that's as we see him again. He's apparently running a castle in I think Latveria.
Oh, he comes from
They
Latveria.
do say it's Latveria, right?
Yes, it is Latveria. Bring the
Okay,
kids,
good.
as he said. It's a great, but yeah, like I said though, is that so the four, I thought they all had great chemistry. Let me just go ahead and pull up their names, just to be really quick. Uh,
I do feel like the Johnny Storm actor. This looks like he's got pretty buzzed. He just took uh one whiff of alcohol and it's like, okay, let's go, let's shoot this thing.
oh yeah, he's Johnny Underwood, and he's been in a lot of productions. And like I says, he was in Uncle Buck. That's one of the big names with John Candy as one of the younger fellows in that. Uh, he was in the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Yeah, he's in a couple of stuff like X Files, stuff like that. So he's very genre savvy. He's now a pastor, believe it or not. But yeah, he was Johnny Storm. We had Alex Hyde White as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. Oh, he was even in the Captain America 2 movie as a young man. That's it. But yeah, Battlestar Galactica, uh, Tales of the Unexpected, The Phantom of the Opera in the '80s. I think that's the Robert Englund version. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade as the young version of Henry.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, that was Mr. Fantastic. Walker Texas. Yeah. So it's not like they just picked some any schlubs off the street. They got people who can show that they could act. There was Rebecca Stab as Sue. She was in a lot of like romantic comedies like Love Potion Number 9, The Marrying Man. Uh, Not a whole lot in her. She did a lot of television work, Guiding Light, Young Writers, Columbo, not Beverly Hills 90210. That's a blast from the past. Wonder Years, like just. Oh yeah, she was in Seinfeld as as one of Jerry's girlfriends. Oh goodness, but she has. It's safe to say this movie did not end any careers, thankfully. Now, but the thing, you actually have two actors. Michael Bailey Smith portrayed Ben, in his human form. But you're gonna love this. He first appeared in A Nightmare on Elm Street 5 as the body actor for Super Freddy.
Yes, I could totally see that.
He's a really big guy. You can tell. Even I thought he was bigger as Ben than he was the Thing, and there's a good reason for that because the Thing is played by a much more shorter fellow, but more stockier, more of that Jack Kirby build and everything like that. That would be Carl Ciarfalo. But yeah, done a lot of Corman productions, TV shows. He was in that '90s Flash series. Wow, uncredited though. But yeah, Fantastic Four was like the big. It was like one of the big things he was involved with. I mean, he's mostly done stunts, but yeah. And he's in RoboCop 3. But yeah, like I said, Fantastic Four. He was a great thing. And like I said, my favorite actor was Joseph Culp as Victor Von Doom. We had an Apollo 13, nice. Driven, like he's done like real movies. It's just like I said, the Fantastic Four one is how I came to know him. And Deep Space Nine, Agents of Shield. Oh, that's quite a thing. L.A. Noir. Oh, he's in L.A. Noir. I love that game.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay. Not okay. I'm really getting off topic here, but I just wanted to say how to emphasize that this is a step above like those fan films you would find online. Where people would like get together, make some approximations of the costumes, and kind of have fun. This kind of has that same vibe, but they were attempting to make a real movie. But yeah, the director
Not
was
Roger Corman. It's more of like a director presents kind of things. You know those types of movies.
yeah, Oli Sasson, who done a couple of other stuff for Corman. In fact, even though he got screwed out of finishing Fantastic Four, Roger did give him another production to do that. Eventually, did get out, and he got good acclaim for. But yeah, so like I said though, they actually were instructed. They have good chemistry with each other. I mean, you really do buy uh, Sue and Johnny as like siblings. I mean, I hate that I have to emphasize that because there are some versions where you can say, "Are you sure these two grew up together?" Because I'm not getting that feeling. We'll get to that. Jeez, we keep referencing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the four, with it being such a low production, of course the effects would probably look a little bit on the iffy side.
Oh my god,
we're not
the
talking
the
like
freaking head wave with the rubber arm out of the wedding limo at the
okay,
end.
yeah. Even Joseph Culp was all like, I'm not so sure about that when he first saw that. But yeah, the yeah, like some of the effects are a little bit filling, like reed stretching and all that stuff. Johnny, the fire effects when he's Johnny work, and then there's that part where he has to go like full blown supernova fly through the sky CGI, and this was the early days of
It looks
CGI.
like and we're talking the Lawnmower Man CGI.
Yeah, it's admirable. I'm sure if they had more budget and more time, they could have cleaned it up to look respectable. I mean, it is kind of sad to say this came out a year after Jurassic Park, so CG being able to do stuff like if you told me, I was like, oh, that's some cool
If they
1980s.
had if they had the intent to actually make this film to actually put it out there, but at some point they were like, yeah, this is not going to see the light of day at all.
So yeah, so when you find it in the videos you see out there, it is unfinished. Like that's like a rough draft of. It's almost like watching a previs edited into the
It's
film.
like this way where like anytime where Doom is talking, he has this like I'm actually trying to imitate it. Like you're hearing his voice muffled through the mask. You have to really listen in to see what he's talking,
Thankfully he
or just rely on the subtitles.
thankfully he overacts enough that it's not the Bane syndrome. It actually does come through. So I hear Doom just fine. But like I said, but that's the thing. He gives Doom the bravado that okay. I was going to talk about the Fantastic Four, but I think since we're talking about him, let's talk about Doom. Okay, let me start the timer. So, Doctor Doom, as we all know, is one of Marvel's biggest villains. Like in terms of not just his power set, but his influence, his presence. Like he's even though he's an enemy of the Fantastic Four, he's more known for being an enemy to a majority of other Marvel characters, just due to how dangerous he is. That he keeps crossing over with other guys, Iron Man, Spider Man, and the like.
And all just the course of wanting to prove to the world that he is the ultimate. He is the one who can rise above the lowest of humanities or even the highest superiority, able to master the whims of science and magic as one unilateral form, and is able to run an entire country of Latveria, who the people of the land uh, really look up to him, and unlike a certain person, they actually get rescinded in kind
Well, hell, like I said,
by
the
him.
yeah, like Victor actually.
As you all be one to say, Doom is not nothing if not magnanimous to those that follow him.
Well, yeah, like he's not just one of those guys that like I shout orders and I zap you if you don't listen, if you don't stay in line. He does take care of what's best for his people of Latveria. They're actually happy over there. In fact, these are the people that. And it's not like cultish,
Oh my
mind
god, I
manipulation.
just realized
Hmm.
it probably the best comparison to Doctor Doom would literally be to Super Mario's Bowser,
Yeah,
where
where
like literally the entire army are all backing up Bowser and are always ready to standing for him and do as he demands and knows that he has their backs fully.
well, yeah, because he actually takes care of the people of Latveria. They're actually a prosperous nation, and so, like I said, you wouldn't know that watching any of the media about it because they hardly, touch on that. But no, like he actually is. He does have diplomatic ties and immunity. Like he's able to get away with some stuff because he's.
That's literally one of the funniest things that Stanley said when he originally created it. And he's like, there's literally just stepping up to a police officer and say, "Officer, I'd really like to take over the world." There's literally technically no crime in the book to do that. You could actually do that, but you're gonna get a lot of raised eyebrows. Like, okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a little thing that Stan always bemused himself. It's like,
It's like how he loved how Spider-Man can't cash a check because he's Spider-Man. I love that line.
yeah,
I love that line though. Hey buddy, don't you watch the papers? I'm Spider-Man. Yeah, anybody can put a costume. I need to see ID. But yeah,
oops.
Doom is larger than life. Like you know, he's not just a hothead who shots his head off and he's actually incompetent. He's not Dark Helmet per se. He actually does.
He's someone who can talk the talk and walk the
I mean,
walk.
the guy has his own move set from Marvel vs. Capcom that's become infamously well known, like that dive kick and everything, to the point where even Fortnite references it. So I think he's beloved for a reason. He has a cool look. He has quite the power set. He's one of the few guys that blends magic and technology together. Of course, they always try to downplay the magic part of him, but no, this is a guy who, you know, had an armor made out of the skin of someone he knew, like wrapped around to become a mystic arcane armor. It was like one of the most messed up panels I ever saw. But I thought, oh, that's kind of neat. And hell, this is the guy who was able to walk up to a Thanos. I don't know if he had the Infinity Gauntlet or not. I think Doom had the Infinity powers at that point. Thanos still thinks he could take him on, and he just like has his disintegrating spine in his hands in the next panel.
But
So
then at the same time, he'll also be the same Victor Von Doom who uh will encounter Santa Claus full of people who actually remember to get him like the exact type of polish he needs for his suit. Command say, "Men, bring this man milk and cookies."
and like I says, the point is, Doom is a multifaceted character, so it's very sad when movies don't live up to that. That's why I say, despite the unfinished nature of it, Joseph Culp's Doom captures. He can be funny. He can be Willy, but he's also very cunning stuff that you'll know pain like beyond any other known, and you buy it. I mean, if
He's a threat, but he's like a good kind of a threat. Like one that's it's almost like if Doctor Evil from Austin Powers actually had a little bit more charisma and was a little bit more getting into the fun rather than just falling on his ass at times.
one of my favorite lines though will always be the whole he's been in ice and says we're gonna go ahead and make an affair in the royal family unless accuse him of that unless they give us a filthy ransom, and the guy's like he did have an affair.
They,
They really
he
did
did
divorce.
interfere. If it isn't, and there are reports to split.
And he goes, I've been asleep for 30 years, throw me a freaking bone. But yeah, so like I said though, yeah, Doctor Doom. Uh, I think his look looks great for the low budget they gave him. The I love how the microphone picks up all the clatters of his armor, which would make sense. I think normally you would edit that out, but I think the clatters add to the charm of him as he like raises his hands and explains how this will be your all this your end and all that stuff.
Yes, he also always postulates and it's just postures and all that. It's all that juicy fun. I serve. If they had just let this movie at least come out as a direct-to-video movie, it wouldn't have hurt anybody. It would have probably gone on the radar. And then it would have been picked up with like the cult following and all that. But no, they wanted to preserve the legacy of the Fantastic Four. They didn't want to sully the name of Marvel and Marvel's first family and all that. No, they had to keep it hush hush.
Yeah. So
Say it was the movie that was never meant to be made.
yeah. So the Sue Storm, I think her effects are done well, but although it does lead to a funny thing that Emily really likes, where two Doom guards are on either side of her. She just has to go invisible. They still think, okay, let's shoot, and they end up hitting each other because she ducked. Like it's kind of funny. And the thing, man, he does go through his pathos and stuff. Like there's a part where oh my god,
Oh
there's a
yeah, he also gets the his blind girlfriend Alicia that's from the
oh they
comics
do that.
involved in
They
this.
do all the scenes with her so well. It is wrapped up in the jeweler not mole man storyline. And the thing about not mole man is that a lot of those shots do feel like vintage Corman, exploitative, trollish style movies, where you got like these funny looking people like kidnapping a screaming girl and all that kind of stuff. It feels like a one of those Corman style movies. So and it kind of reminds me of like early Tales from the Crypt or even like a Are You Afraid of the Dark style vibe.
Yeah, it kind of does.
But oh man, it is like I said though, it does drag on a bit, but it does lead to a great moment where Doctor Doom goes to visit the jeweler himself for the jewel he needs for his big laser of doom, and everyone in the underground tries to fight him, and they all shoot him, and he's just sitting there flexing his armor and getting shot at and laughing. Then he pulls out his own specialty doom pistol and like takes out one of the guys and tells the other guys, they have a chance to go or not, and then they leave, and he goes like, "Wise choice." Such a great moment. And like I said, but the scene going back to Ben, the scene I remember is the scene where Sue mentions how she's always been so shy. So then that makes Reed go, all of these powers come from our what can be considered our weaknesses. Talk about how Sue, you've always been so shy whenever you wanted to come up to me. Johnny, you've been always been a hothead full of hot temper. And then he gets to Ben and tells him, and backhands him. You always rely on your brute strength when your intelligence would have sufficed. I'm like, geez, ouch. You said that you were nicer to Johnny and Sue when you got to Ben. Basically, you're telling them you're a lunkhead. So I don't blame Ben for leaving the team after that.
Ah,
But yeah, so
it-
what he does get to say
Then
his
I
line.
do.
Oh yeah, you're
It's
gonna.
clobbering time to Doom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see,
but I would also note that even though it is also still kind of having the budget hampering it, you don't really feel like you're losing the setting and all of that. It doesn't feel like it's like a bland background or anything. There's sure it's cheap cardboard, but it's very well lit, very well moody, very well atmospheric, and it has the aura of like a Latveria castle.
it does have a nostalgic vibe to it. I'll be honest. I do laugh that after the Fantastic Four escape and destroy all his Doom goons, and he comes back because he said, "I want to teach these guys have you teach you a lesson." He leaves. He goes back and says, "So have you learned your lesson yet?" And they're just gone. And he just rather than rage, scream, no, he just goes, "Hmm," like, "Oh," and like when you realize you left the stove on, type of hmm. But oh yeah, so like I said, there's a very famous shot where where you see Ben walking through the streets of Manhattan, and they actually didn't have a license or permit to do that. They kind of just went to early in the morning, had their stuntman in the Thing outfit walk around town, and you got those reactions and stuff. And
Those
we
are honest to God reactions seeing that.
and we were just laughing, going, "This was way more than we got from Jason Takes Manhattan."
Yeah.
But yeah, so Yeah, like I said though, I do love their costumes in this movie. I know they're cheaply made. They look like, I mean, I think they're above Party City grade. They do look like an actual costume for a movie, but they do kind of have a little bit of a, they were handmade look. So, uh, but
It
I
wasn't, but didn't they say in the movie they were handmade?
yep, that works for that
So it
paper.
just plays to that then.
But it really is the ripped from the comics look. Like they look like the Fantastic Four. The things walking around in his
Like you would,
speedo.
like to the point where you wouldn't see that again until first step stands the thing, because thing gets the full body suit at least.
I mean, it's so crazy how much that it is rather crazy how much that the Rebecca Stab looks like. Even her hair matches the way Sue was drawn in the comics at the time. It was like
And the
eerie.
Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Like even she was surprised when she saw. She goes, "Oh, that's my hair." She thought when she first saw the images, and she's one of the few actresses I think that translated well to like you know looking exactly like the character.
Which is something we would never see until Roger Gosling's Scooby-Doo movies.
Mm-hmm. So it is just crazy that you know, they all put their heart and soul into this. They get told it's not going to release, and they've been moved hearing people who have seen all the unreleased, circulated bootlegs, give them props, and they go, well, yeah. I think that Alexander Hyde White still believes that you can still release this today. If you were to put it in a theater for like a limited run, I'm pretty sure, you know, like give them the dignity of getting what they never had before a release. And there are petitions for
One of
people to.
these days, Shout Factory or any one of the other dozens of like underground uh re-release media formats will get the rights to that movie and give it its proper cleanup and due.
Yeah, I mean, because unfortunately, one of the things that ended up getting in the way was, that producer that says Sam Raimi must put Venom in Spider-Man 3, Avi Arad, who is currently helming,
Bobby!
who is currently doing the Zelda movie. So, hope that plays out well. Producing it. He's
Uh,
not
given
directing
that,
it.
given that we saw how they decided to cast unknowns for the leads, which is honestly a smart move if anyone asks me, I'm holding my reservation, but I'm still upset that he just pulled that skunk move.
Yeah, what he did, but yeah, and he said later that, oh well, I took the negatives myself and destroyed them. He said when promoting the new one at the time, the 2005 one, trying to say, oh, you're never going to see that one. And even Stan Lee said,
Us.
and Stan Lee said,
I feel like, and I'll finish it. I'll get my point later.
and of course Stan Lee did say the whole like that one. I don't think that was supposed to ever like be released actually. But then just other people who say they heard Stan Lee saying, "Oh, they were going to do something," and then of course the rights lapsed and they couldn't release it. But yeah, what they had, he approved of what he was seeing. He actually got to visit the set one day to see what they were doing. He seemed pretty enthusiastic.
Yeah, I feel like when he gave that interview to Kevin Smith, he had to basically just uh, stay because Avi would be behind the camera and say, no, we have to promote our Spider-Man movie. Let's try to preserve our Marvel legacy because we got a good thing going. We had that Blade movie, we had the X-Men movies. It was too late for us to get Howard the Duck and Captain America out of the way, but that's out of our hands.
But like you said though, I mean, love him or hate him, Avi was an architect of the early Marvel non-cinematic universe movies that we know today. So, uh, yeah. But point is though,
I feel like him destroying those negatives is almost like the same level of skeezy, uh, smug, over the top pumpness that I would compare to Bryan Singer, slapping up a folder of the some random underground photos that he unearthed of the behind the scenes production of Superman Lives of Nicolas Cage in one of the unfinished suits, and say, "I now y'all were really gonna make this movie. Aren't you glad I decided to join on project?" And of course, they would see like, no, they were actually had a legit Superman suit made for like they got him fit into that one that was in that picture is just one of the prototypes they were just testing. Because this, like even David Corenswet would say, like whenever you're trying to make a suit for a movie, there's always gonna you're never going to just say, okay, we got the suit, this is what it's gonna look like. No, you're gonna have to really rework it and test it and see if like my arm can move this way or flex that or do anything like that. It's not a one and done perfect creation. It's a huge complicated task to have a lot of people to tweak and work it with me as the actor included into the foray.
Yeah, so I think it's dubious to think he destroyed every copy that existed of it. I'm pretty sure it exists somewhere, hopefully in a place that has decent preservation. Because as we all know, famously, Event Horizon, as we keep bringing up, was never see its unedited director's cut because it was left in Prague, where the conditions for holding their film were not entirely great, to the point where salt got into the negatives and they were like weathered beyond relief. Like even if you were to try to do the best digital thing on it, it just would look very grainy. Like I think even the best AI
Actually,
could.
wait, actually, the way you describe it, adding the grain in this would actually add more to the creep factor for Event Horizon.
No, I think yeah, I think it did. No, my point is it practically ate at the film, so it's like unlikely we'll see that. So hopefully they preserved something of the Fantastic Four in raw format so they can give it the proper remastering. I mean, there's some fans who attempt to clean up and remaster things themselves. I think with the assistance of upscaling and all that kind of stuff, and I've seen some videos of it, and you go, yeah, that would look pretty sharp. But thanks to rights issues, they are not allowed to keep those clips up for too long. So, but yeah, like I
Yeah,
said,
to the point where yeah, to the point where Josie had to do a hidden video for just one night so that we could both actually see and watch it together. Because I could actually just watch it in for play, so we didn't have a setup to watch and talk with each other. So he set it up and then immediately erased it after our viewing. So
yeah, and I got that from Internet
thank
Archive.
you for that.
Yeah, and like I said though, looking at it again compared to what came after it, it really is sad. It wasn't given its proper due, but who knows? Someday. Like I said though,
Anyways, let's talk about the ones that actually did make it to the big screen. The ones that the higher ups think this is the quality that Fantastic Four should be having for the very get go.
okay, sadly,
Oh boy.
thanks to Godzilla Mendoza's channel, he said he was talking about this one, and he brought up how an interview came up of Ossie Davis, the not the obviously Ossie Davis, of the Ossie Sasson getting an interview, and he talked about how one of the line producers who personally knew Eichenberg, he found him and they were talking and catching up, and he mentioned, when they made that new one, after they screened it for the very first time, Eichenberg came out, turned to him, and said, Ossie's version was better. And then he said he broke down in tears because he's never heard that story before, and he thought, oh my god, that even the producer thought that my version was the good one, even if it never came out. Just to hear that, he sees it. Oh, that just made him feel all sorts of emotion. Like damn, like even the producer thought like it wasn't fair that what happened to him, but he thought in the end like that he told him after seeing the big budget version they did with his name on it, they did sell. The Tim Story version. He looked after the first cut of it and said, "Damn it, Aussie's version was better."
That's a big ouch. But yeah, let's get to it. So 10 years ago we had the quote unquote first official Fantastic Four movie released. Uh under officially under the 20th Century Fox moniker. After they had their run of the X-Men movies, they thought, okay, why don't we just wrap it up? Let's hit. We're able to do the big mutants. Let's do Marvel's first family.
And it was in production hell for a long time, since the late '90s, to the point where they had so many writers. How Harry Potter and Home Alone director Chris Columbus was attached at one point.
Wasn't Edgar Wright good? Or no, not Edgar Wright. It was someone else who directed Ant-Man
Peyton
later
Reed.
on.
Peyton Reed.
Yeah, Peyton Reed. Peyton Reed was attached to do it at
And
one point,
eventually,
but
we got to Tim Story, who had to rewrite it himself. And here's this thing actually made me go pull out the Bardock clip, where I was told but thanks to Anthony Gargamula's Fantastic Four adaptations that don't work video, he brought up a fact that Tim's story did have a draft to go, but when Incredibles came out, he thought it was so similar, he ended up changing it to what we eventually got, and I went, "Are you kidding me?"
Oh yes, those memes that you hear time and time again. The best Fantastic Four movie ever put to film is Disney's The Incredibles. Yeah, that's technically not hyperbole.
Hell, this
Oh,
came
by the way,
out.
Jonesy,
Yeah.
just aside, Casey actually just saw your thumbnail. She says that your Mr. Fantastic Four pick. She absolutely loves that.
See, that's why I went for it. I'm so used to being flexible. But so the idea, but like I said though, that I think will be these movies are. I think okay is the best word to describe them because there's some stuff that works, some stuff that you're a little like and some stuff that really doesn't work to the point where they're not like considered classics like Raimi's Spider-Man or even Singer's X-Men movies. It's more like Origins.
Well, that happened.
No, okay, maybe Origins is too harsh.
Yeah, they're based. But no, even Last Stand, there's like shit. Okay, it's like Ang Lee's Hulk.
Yeah, that's a good way. Even though Alan Lee's Hulk, I think, is better than this film. If I had to pick gun to my head between the two,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm not saying that Ang Lee's Hulk is like bad either. I mean, it's
Oh, you know what it is? You know what it is? This is like the Superman 3 of the Marvel bunch.
that is perfect because it's not terrible as Quest for Peace,
It's
but it's
just fair.
not as good
It
as
exists.
even two or obviously the Dick Donner films, Untouchables. So yeah, fantastic. And here's the problem: put yourself in the mindset. We just had X Men, then Spider Man comes out, and then Hulk comes
And
out.
Daredevil and Hulk.
I mean, you have all these Marvel guys that are already starting to like trailblaze new ground. Some work, like Spider Man, some didn't, like Daredevil, but they're starting to leave tropes behind to the point where this movie started using all of a sudden says, "Hey, wait, this is like this and that," and this shouldn't be happening to Marvel's first family where they feel like they're the rip-offs of the stuff that they ended up inspiring later.
Uh, God, it's almost at a point you have to go. It's like, well, take a shot at this, take a shot for that, take a shot for this. Wait, is this the Norman Osborn? You know how much I sacrificed, Zane?
Yeah. So, first off, let's get off on the four. So we have a new
Ian
cast.
Grufford as Mr. Fantastic. Uh, Chris Evans. Hey, what's Captain America doing here?
Yeah, pre Captain America, Chris Evans is Johnny Storm, and man, does he eat up the scenery like nobody's business in a good way. In fact, I told you, he kind of reminded me of Chris O'Donnell's Robin from the Schumacher films at times. That youthful enthusiasm.
Only having a little bit more of an oomph of personality rather than just whining every like few seconds.
Yeah,
Well, to be fair, the whining persona only persisted in the Batman and Robin version. Batman Forever is that's actually more like Johnny Storm vibes kind of
and
thing.
then Michael Chiklis is perfect casting as Ben Grimm, but in both forms.
And of course, you have Jessica Alba as hey, no, don't emote, don't emote.
Yeah, that
I'm
Jessica.
sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, but yes, Jessica Alba plays Susan Storm, aka the Invisible Girl. I'm sorry, Invisible Woman, because she gets.
Touchy about
Of
the
course,
girl
they had to
thing.
make a joke. The originally the character was called Invisible Girl, but obviously she's supposed to be the older sister to Johnny, and it's you know
And so, first off, the chemistry does work with these people, especially like I said, you can buy that Ben and Reed are good friends in this one with the way Chiklis bounces off of him. And oh man, does Chris Evans love getting a rise out of Chiklis's thing? Because that's the common thing in every adaptation. And every adaptation is that Ben and Johnny drive each other crazy to the point where
well,
it's
almost every adaptation.
oh god, yeah.
But we'll get to that later.
So
Sorry.
I mean, one of the most memorable scenes involves Johnny having a showboating incident involving a motorcycle tournament to the point where Ben Grimm decides to like turn his beautiful, expensive Porsche into a tin can ball.
Which, by the way, that was actually an action figure they made. But Ben Grimm is the thing with the uh coupled up car. They actually can. I think it's almost kind of based on when that other Hulk action figure that you could dent a Jeep. Only this one is like, well, we only have half a Jeep. How about this time we actually like meld the car into a piece of scrap?
Yeah, and then like I said, the chemistry does work, and Ben Grimm, at least when he's the thing, does make his voice a lot more like rockier and gravelier and deeper, and you do feel for him like when he gets dumped on by his wife, who's horrified by his appearance.
Bitch of an ex-wife.
It's just like heartbreaking. But I made a joke on a recent viewing when she left, like, "Okay, we'll see you in Silent Hill." Well, no, serious. Lauren Holden played Sybil in the Silent Hill movie that came out a year later. The cop.
Well, at least she got what she deserved.
And then, like I said though, they work, but there's one problem with the movie. Okay, well, two problems. Well, one major problem is they don't really get out a lot. You know, for a team known about exploring the unknown and going to the underground, fight subterranean people.
No, I have a better thing. It's saying this will literally summarize all of what Fantastic Four is all about. It's basically Spider Mass with superheroes.
Yeah, I also heard Star Trek with superheroes, but yeah, basically, yeah, that's the idea. They go to see. They're the ones who usually find cosmic threats first. They're the ones that found the Kree and the Shi'ar and all that other stuff before they became problems for other Marvel characters. So they're the ones who found out about Kang the Conqueror first. Hell, Kang is Nathaniel Richards, one of the great descendants of Reed Richards. So it's like I said though, these guys are known for the wacky, outlandish, like because Jack Kirby was hard on sci-fi. I mean, you could see how he did it with his 2001: A Space Odyssey adaptations. So they should be known for that kind of stuff. And here they're just stuck in an apartment. I mean, it could be worse. It could be stuck on a
It
military
it
base, but yeah.
it's basically they're like forced to stay confined and quarantined
Oh
for the
man,
most part.
imagine.
They're more focusing on curing themselves instead of being. It's so sad that it has to take Johnny Storm of all people, the hothead, the went that originally in the comics he was all like bemoaning, I don't want to be this superhero. Oh, well, it's me. I want to be this rockabilly teacher. But in this movie, he's like the complete opposite, and rightfully so because everyone is like bemoaning like how like they're just freaks of nature and they have like all these conditions and all that. It's like, guys, have you not picked up a comic book once in your life? You realize we're fucking superheroes?
And I love that bit though when he tells him like, "What if we have to use these things for like a higher calling, like making money and finding getting girls? Is there any higher?" But the point is, so saying that you can accept that, or better yet, learn to enjoy it. Okay, yeah, the costumes.
It's like it's just so sad that it's like the first movie, like the most that we get exploratory wise is them going up to a space station. And then once that happens, that they kind of like get their scale down. They go from like healing up at the Alps mountains for Doom's one of his medical facilities, and then it just goes back down even further to just New York City, and then it's just a block of New York City. Their Baxter Building and all that.
The bridge scene is kind of cool, although I, for the life of me, do not understand what the heck Sue's plan was. I mean, Reed's plan for Sue getting across was that involved her having to take off her clothes because they don't cloak with her, but then she would lose concentration and come back in her skivvies, and I'm like, okay, kind of funny, but they kind of linger uncomfortably, and then later they go and you go, okay, what did that accomplish exactly?
It's just even dumber considering the fact that her other power is that she could create invisible force fields.
Like, shouldn't she like make a
Wouldn't that be a moment where she would do something by accident and cause people to move away? I don't know. We need hijinks and all that. God, I, I, I was just making a joke about comparing this to Superman 3. I guess I was really right on the fucking target then.
yeah, and then let's see,
All it's missing here is just Richard Pryor just making it a crack.
yeah, Yeah, like I said though, it's like I said, it's really small scale, but I mean they're trying to go for a slice of life rather than high octane action, which I think works. I mean the bridge scene is pretty well done, but when you think about it, they're fixing a mess that they themselves made. Because Ben scared a guy who fell into traffic. He had to stop the guy from getting clobbered, so he gets into traffic, causing a Final Destination event to happen.
It's just it's neat, but it's just so underwhelming.
And then, um, this is mid 2000 CGI, so obviously, anytime Ion had to like do some of Reed's stretching, it would look a little interesting.
Weird.
Yeah, and not in like oh it makes sense because his body is unstable. No, it just looks very like it does. I mean, sometimes it does lead to great effect, like the scene where Ben and Reed get into a little bit of a scuffle. They actually use his flexibility to great effect in that fight. And also, the when he tests the machine on himself, there's a part where he kind of strokes out. It does
Where he starts to melt a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the rubbery effect does work. We go like, God damn, that actually looks.
But yeah, it does. It actually feels like there's weight to that. But aside from that, anytime else, it's just, oh, I guess that just happened.
I mean, like again,
The
freaking.
dumbest one was reaching for a toilet. Yeah, you know what's even worse is that, oh my god, it's not only this movie, but later one where the biggest sin is that most of its budget, all like showcases their superpowers and all of that, that they had to put effort and work into like doing. It's all in montages.
Oh yeah, like
Like I
like
like
Johnny
I like
testing out
you
his.
you thought people were upset when they like montaged all the cool moments to Captain America, but at least in Captain America, things were happening. It showed how he was winning the war through escalation and all of that. And here it's like you want to see Johnny try to prank Ben with feather duster. Only, his skin is rock hard, so he can't feel the feather duster at all.
Let's use the
Or
handle
hey,
then.
want to bump into Sue naked? But with her fluster, she actually just turns invisible. So her hiding behind a towel is pointless.
And then
You want to see Reed? What happens if Reed can't get toilet paper? Oh, don't worry. He can stretch that so he can get extra toilet paper anytime he
and
wants.
then when he has to get those hard to reach spots on his shave, he just literally pulls his cheek out like a rubber band and just stretches shaves the part. Like very cool and all. I do laugh at Johnny's first scene where he goes all flame on, and then later he's describing the match while they're saying I don't think our DNA has been changed at all, and he's all look, picture that, but everywhere.
But everywhere.
And then you're right.
After your day has been potentially altered.
Yeah, like I said, but Jessica Alba is just like I said. I heard she received a hard time from the directors and production crew. So poor thing. I mean, being told not to look because you're supposed to look fine or whatever. It's just like I mean, because you look at her
She is really assigned just to look pretty.
and like her when she's in her Invisible Woman mode and when in the final fight, she's doing a lot of like IMAX no Maxis magazine style posing and face mogging, probably at the direction because I know she can act. I've seen her act, so I mean it's unfortunate
I mean,
that.
look up fucking Machete in her speech to the undocumented immigrants and all that.
Oh yeah, she's very much like Michelle Rodriguez in that respect. But like I said, so
Here they're like, no, you're a pretty woman. You have to be pretty. Just don't do anything.
and then what do you think of their costumes? The one detail that we think you and I both agree on was a little weird was turning the big circular four in the center into like a little mini badge.
I mean, it's not too. It's. I mean, we have to remember this is a time where like they took certain liberties with costumes. Like this is the you actually go out in these. What did you rather us wear? Yellow spandex?
But hey,
Or like having the Spider-Man costume, like look having his eyes actually instead of be fabric white eyes, they're actually just polarized glasses, which actually makes sense because like if your Spider-Man is swinging through Skyline
the
City,
wind
the worst thing you
velocity.
want is to get hit with the sun glare against the windows or the actual sun itself.
I will say though, I would love it if a future Spider-Man movie did have him just have a straight up fabric white eyes costume.
I
But
mean, the best we get is just essentially the homecoming suit, but that's technically with the goggles that are over it, though.
but yeah, so yeah, like I said, the costumes are fine. Uh, I do love that part.
They're streamlined, they're uniform, they match each other. It gives a significant team vibe.
Yeah, I think I like the Corman costumes a little bit better by a little bit. But yeah, now let's talk about the guy we haven't mentioned so far in passing. Victor Von Doom, played by
Victor
the
Von
late
Doom.
Julian McMahon. Rest in peace. He passed away from cancer earlier this month. That being said, poor guy.
Holy shit!
What?
The
What's it?
guy has got to be the most derivative combination of Sam Raimi, Norman Osborn, the Ian McKellen Magneto, and fucking even I dare say like maybe a little bit of the Colin Farrell Bullseye from the Daredevil movie.
Hell, he's a little bit of Kevin Spacey's Luther. You know, he predates him by a year, but still, same vibe. I mean, and the crazy thing was that this part was written for Robert Downey Jr. Pre Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. So he hadn't come back from his big comeback yet.
Boy, I wonder like the story is gonna have to tell us like technically I actually auditioned to play Doctor Doom, but not for this. This was like years and years and years even before I became Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, in some parallel universe, Robert Downey Jr. still got to be Doctor Doom, and Tom Cruise got to be Iron Man. Huh.
Like that's wild.
But yeah, so the problem with him is again, it's very derivative of other villains we've seen. Because rather than the great dictator of Latveria, he is a simple businessman who put a lot of money into a project that blew up in his face, quite literally in some cases, and um, he's scrambling to keep his company from falling into the red before he finds out he has untapped power that he starts to use to go on a homicidal spree.
Back up.
Go on.
Company? What is this? Are we? Where is this castle? Where's Latveria? What's going on here?
Latveria is the old country he came from, but he is part of the head of Von Doom Industry. As he says, I am the face of a multi-million-dollar corporation. I can't just be sick. And also, he.
So this is basically like the unreleased pilot of Wonder Woman, where Wonder Woman literally ran her own. Is this? Why do we get kind of take? Why do we gotta suck out all the magic and whimsy out of things and make it into a corporation? What is this form of capitalism?
And then on top of that,
Eyes of the camera.
I don't think they get what his powers actually are because he gets hit by the cosmic rays too, thanks to the shielding, and he starts growing metal, organic skin and bone and all that stuff under his flesh, and you're like,
Which is kind of cool, I guess, but
but that's
that's
not
not
Doom.
really a portion of his suit. But
And
okay, at least he throws lightning and all that. This like they can like give like science mumbo jumbo that's basically like he can like shoot lightning from his fingertips. That's still power. That's something Doom can do at times, but that's not all he's capable of doing in the
oh,
comics.
by the way, just to make you laugh, oh, it must burn you to come close to power, to come close to unlimited power, and you see him go wide-eyed, and he has a flashback to unlimited power from Revenge of the Sith. Oh, but like I said though, it's they don't get his powers. He's very like conniving and very. You know, the irony is,
Like,
Julian.
oh, it's worse is that even when he is acting out and like giving like all these like uh sinister speeches and dialogue, they're, they're strangely quiet almost. Like he's not boisterous. He's not proclaiming to the heavens and earth and all that shall be bask in the glory of Doom's magnificent voice. No, he's just kind of like, oh, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, that's the line. Oh my god. And let's not fight. Like they give him a helmet that's from a recognition of something from Latveria, and he decides to put it on over his head and finally get the rose. But then you see Doctor Doom shooting a heat-seeking missile launcher at Johnny Storm.
It's that's Doom. Like I feel like Doom would say like, really, that's the best you can do. Oh, is he thinking, Mister? I expected the likes of that from Wilson Fisk of all things, not for Doc Victor Von Doom.
Yeah, it's so sad. Like I think Ant said it for a kid who first saw him. I agree. It just makes Doctor Doom look lame compared to the team, and the fact that the team has a hard time with him individually, but once they decide to combine their powers, oh, Doom's been. It should have been a lot more harder. Even combined effort should have been a lot harder to take down Doom.
Instead, all it is like it's a two-pronged team effort. It's basically Johnny and Sue, where Johnny like revs up he or she. Oh yeah, this is a big thing where like the Mr. Fantastic and Sue warn Johnny not to go overboard because he can actually apparently reach up to degrees of like almost like 400 Kelvin, which is basically like the sun.
Yep, he could blow up.
So it's basically the Ghostbusters don't cross the streams bullshit.
Well, you even told me we're ripping off the Ghostbusters ending now, huh? Oh God, there's an even worse Ghostbusters. God, we keep on hinting at this, but yeah. But
And
yeah,
then, of course, the other attack after they superheat Doom to the point, but of course, with his innate cosmic powers allows him to survive that somehow. Reed and Grimm, I suppose, is supposed to be a callback to their friendship, where they're the ones teaming up to give Doom the final blow. They essentially give him a chemistry 101 lesson. What happens to superheated metal when it's cooled instantly?
I know it explodes. Well, that's what Alien 3 taught
Or
me.
I Or I guess they could just turn it into like a freeze statue. I guess that's how blacksmithing works.
My God, it does look like a living hell. That if you know he didn't die from that, so he's just stuck like, damn it, I have an itch on my nose. I wish I scratched before you did this. But oh my God, but
It's like but the final climax battle is so lame. It's like stuck in one single block of the city. It's not going across the cityscape or anything. It's not going up high the towers or even higher up to the heavens or up to space where their final climax ends where it began. No, it's literally just at the corner of like 12th and Main.
well, at least Stan had a nice cameo as the mailman in this one.
As a first speaking role cameo, it almost seems like.
But yeah, uh, so all's well that ends well. They end up accepting their powers. Are gonna go on, but hey, what's this? Uh, as the
An
movie said,
after credits scene before the MCU,
but
yeah,
yeah,
they teased that Doom could still be alive, and he shipped off to the box to Latveria, where hopefully maybe when the next movie comes, he'll actually be the Lord of Latveria again and risk his revenge. And you're not buying this for one goddamn minute, are you?
and on top of that,
Yeah,
this
I wish that was the case.
this movie did make enough for them to make a part two. They went bigger and they called this one "The Rise of the Silver Surfer."
It's just funny that they managed to get money considering the fact they went up against Nolan's big bad boy,
The Batman.
which we also discussed a few weeks back.
But oh my gosh, this one was it improves in some ways, and it's just
It was going
shot
in the right direction, but it's just hampered by just
a few decisions here and there.
two big, two big no-nos.
Hey, what's the one big no-no?
The one big no-no is giving us a art cloud with the "Hi, my name is" tag with Galactus written on it. Oh, sure, there's a silhouette of Galactus's notorious crown and all of that in the light if you look and squint hard enough, but you never actually see him.
And apparently,
You actually see Parallax better in the Green Lantern movie than you do with Galactus here.
on top of that, apparently Tim Story himself said, "I don't do giant robots in my movie," so he was never going to put big. I heard two conflicting stories. One says Tim Story says he doesn't do big giant robots, but another said that he wanted to, but the budget for Fox says, you save Galactus for the finale movie or whatever, which is stupid. I mean, imagine being a movie where you're teasing about this big great planet devourer coming and he never shows up, and you say, "Oh well, we're gonna make a sequel bait him for a sequel he may or may not get." I'm sure that hasn't happened very recently now, has it? Optimus Prime, give me the Nexus and I shall give you what you want. Then die. Yeah, Rise of the Beast had.
And here I thought you were gonna bring up Kang the Conqueror.
No, I'm talking about how Rise of the Beast also did a thing with. We're gonna have Unicron, but he's not gonna turn into Unicron.
That could
Yes,
be worse. It made Earth be Unicron.
they did.
Boy, would that have been fucking stupid.
Yeah, so
But at least they didn't follow through with it.
but yeah, maybe I don't know. But yeah, so the idea that Galactus is a cosmic being that he eats planets to sustain life, and the thing is, he always takes on different forms depending on the race he's going to eat. If he's on a planet full of squirrel people, they're going to see a giant ass squirrel come for them. The Kree saw a Kree version of Galactus. I mean, the Skrulls saw a Skrull version of Galactus destroy their homeworld. So they could have done something cool with that, but no, we just got this nebulous mass of
Well,
clouds
if
and
they
what.
wanted to actually have, if they didn't want to do like big edge seed, they could actually introduce the whole scroll thing, or even the super scroll, as an enemy for the Fantastic Four to deal with. That's something that they are notoriously known to have to deal with, especially the super scroll, which technically they do, but not in the way that is actually relevant into the plot. But it's kind of it's stupid. It's weird.
Oh yeah. Uh, so part of the plot is that Johnny chases after the Silver Surfer after he messes up Sue's wedding, gets in contact with him, and then whenever he touches any other member of the Fantastic Four, he ends up power swapping with them, which leads to some hijinks.
And at least this one we get to see proof that Jessica Alba was allowed to act properly. I guess some of the higher ups flicked Tim's stories ear and told him, "Look, we got a lot of people that diss Jessica Alba's acting for what you told her not to do. So you tell her off again, and we're gonna get your kick to the curb."
Apparently, he still thought her crying was way too much, so he told her like they'll just CGI in the tears. That happened with this one.
At least she was able to emote and scream out loud when she's on freaking fire.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Oh yeah, but this someone in 2007 at Marvel must have thought the world wanted to see dance scenes like crazy because we have a bachelor
Oh
party where
God! Now we had this, we had the Spider-Man 3, and it's just what the hell, Marvel? What were you thinking?
was there probably an Avi call? They have to do a dance. How do people know what to do on a dance floor unless they see them dance? Okay, I mean, I'm joking, but yeah, at least you get to see Reed be creative. But it's like, okay, so we have the
It's sad that that's the most that they do with Mr. Fantastic's stretching ability.
wait. There's some. They definitely up the humor in this one. Like here's a scene where she says she's not mad at Reed for that, and he's like, okay, and he ends up getting like sandwiched between two force fields, like a glass sandwich, and he's like all smushed up, and he's like, I've said we're not done with you yet. So could you lose the force field? Like, oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh yeah, like they do like little fun little things with the power, but like you said though, and also I could not shake off that Chris Evans grew his hair more, and now he looks almost exactly. There's a scene where he has a leather jacket. Where I'm going, oh my god, he's Steve Rogers. Like, just, I can't. I'm like, Steve, what are you doing here?
Get a jump start. Aren't we going to bring the Fantastic Four in soon? Well, you're a few years out. Get back into your character.
But yeah, so the thing is that his like I said, he switches powers with his sister turning invisible, getting bumped into. Ben has fun with it where he touches him and ends up making him look like a Rocky Tom Brady. Although,
Just sad considering the fact that Kristen actually acts with, having a gravelly voice and all that.
yeah, and it ends up blundering really badly when they're going to catch a surfer in London,
Oops,
and Johnny bumps into it. What? Go on.
oops, we haven't actually seen Ian
Oops.
say, "Hey guys, Fantastic Four always gets stuck. They're supposed to be explorers. Wasn't comfortable such as getting Sue undressed. I see it. What a world that is. Everything in the early 2000s had to be scaled back as much as possible. Basically, it's done to simplify his origins, the strong body mass. I'll say is undermines Doom's role as brain side disorders. Same problem with Spider-Man having organic webs. Oh, actually the organic webs kind of make sense in my opinion because if you're being bitten by a spider, you have spider-based abilities. Why would you have the natural ability to make your own webbing?
So
But
he does
neither here nor
like.
there.
He says he likes Rise of the Silver Surfer most of all because at least there's some sense of sci-fi wonder, which is true. The biggest
That
one
is
was
very
what
true.
did Galactus.
Parallax is way less embarrassing than this movie. Yeah,
Ouch.
people want dancing. Yeah, sorry we didn't see it first, Ian.
He's not even clear how
I,
Galactus
I
convinces Norrin Red to work for Go on.
yeah, but yeah.
Galactus is a fucking clown in this movie. Does he even talk? Oh my god. That made me laugh so hard. But yeah, like I said though, there is the sci-fi, but we have all this wedding hijinks, like planning the wedding. Poor Reed, poor Sue getting her wedding ring on. Just look, there's a little.
You also have this whole side plot where Sue is like bemoaning and don't want all this super high
craziness.
extravagant thing happening or when they raise a family, which is something we actually get to explore in the new movie, but we're talking about this movie right now.
But oh
And
yeah.
to be fair, she does kind of bring us some points. Like, you think celebrity life is hectic now. Wait until the junior appears.
Oh god, especially given that Franklin Richards is considered one of the most strongest beings in the Marvel comics. Like not just
To the
like
point where when she turned evil, yes, the infamous Malice Sue Storm, she actually knocked down my green gal She-Hulk on her ass.
I'm telling you,
She-Hulk.
so I'm talking about how her son Franklin is considered like almost a omniscient, no, omnipotent being level of power. Like he rivals the Phoenix Force, and he's just born this way. He can rewrite reality for crying out loud. So, yeah, things are gonna go crazy if they ever explore a baby Franklin. And then there's Valeria, who got that name because Doctor Doom did a favor to help save them, and he got to at least grant her name. I think I don't know if Doom is actually Valeria's godfather or not, but I know that she got her name from Doom because that was the
Boy, the Thanksgiving that would be awkward.
mm-hmm.
I would actually see Doom actually putting his uh rivalry and pettiness aside just for a family get together. Again, that's is literally why people love Doctor Doom. He's that like multifaceted. He's not like a one note villain. At times, he actually does make good points of why he wants to take over the world.
I mean, and then hell, Civil War happened because of Doctor Doom and Tony Stark being sent to a far-flung future where the Avengers were destroyed and stuff, and Tony freaking out because of his futurism, ended up tried to prevent that from happening and ended up causing Civil War. So
And it causes it again with why is it always futurism that causes these things? I swear, if Civil War 3 is announced and they say Tony Stark's visions, nope, done. I'm done. No, no, no more. I'm done with seeing any more like foreboding visions of the future. Anything with Tony Stark involved? No, I refuse. No.
I
Good
think
day, sir.
I think Clint Barton said it best. Look, everybody, the future is just here. He sees all. He knows all. He knows what's best for you. All sarcastically. But yeah. So anyway, wait, how do we get here?
During all this, we have the Silver Surfer, who is, of course, the Herald, portrayed in person by oh shoot,
Doug
what's the
Jones.
actor's name? Doug Jones, known for Hellboy, but of course vocally known for by Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh yes, and he does a great job giving him the grandeur and gravitas of him saying stuff like "Your world is at an end," stuff like that. But he doesn't really get to.
I am not the destroyer.
He he doesn't really get
It's
to.
Galactus,
He
the
doesn't really.
devourer of.
He's cool, but I actually heard that Lawrence Fishburne was actually initially cast to be the voice of Galactus when they read for him, and they thought in the end when they changed Galactus, they thought, well, we want to be Norrin Red, and he's like, okay. Mm-hmm. Although
You're telling me we could have Lawrence Fishburne as Galactus?
that would have been crazy. Galactus with the voice of Morpheus. I am Galactus. Oh, speaking of which, the animated show had Tony J. Frollo playing Galactus. And it
It's one of
sounds
the few
epic.
times where that '90s cartoon is actually because seeing some of the clips of that and even hearing the ridiculous Disney Afternoon style theme song with it. That's
Ooh, good. Good. I watched a lot of that stuff the other day, just to get in preparation, and then went, oh,
you hear the theme song play. You just go like, "This is the." So we had the rollicking X-Men theme, and we had a freaking member of Aerosmith do Spider-Man, and we have this a Fantastic Four.
thankfully season 2 gave him an actual orchestral
Well,
epic song.
yeah, I'm starting to feel like Marvel really doesn't take their first family that seriously at all.
But yeah, so I mean, Galactus was a big issue.
Oh yeah, don't say it. Don't say it.
Out on an outer
I
space adventure, they got hit by cosmic rays. But oh my god. So yeah, Silver Surfer's fine, but he gets taken. He's not. The thing is, he's not in it a whole lot. And when he is in it, he ends up getting his ass kicked by the Fantastic Four on orders of the government, and then Doctor Doom ends up stealing his surfboard.
Actually, to be fair, that's one of the actually good points to the movie because the way they get him down is actually a very Fantastic Four way. They have Reed invent a invention and needs to relies on his team to actually implement it to capture him.
Oh
Like
my god.
this is something that was sorely missed out in the first one. Yeah, we had Reed's a cosmic reinvention machine, but it's so like uh out in the background. Sometimes it's just sitting there and during a conversation. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot this thing's supposed to like reinvent the cosmic rays and all that. It looks like it's just a clunkier pod from Cronenberg's The Fly,
And then we get the like I said, we get the Fantastic Car in this one.
which is a lot more sleeker than what they originally put out as a toy for the first movie.
The
Yes, I
bathtub.
had it. Yeah, it looks way clunkier than what they originally came. But at one point, I'm at one half I'm sort of like disappointed that they didn't actually adapt that toy that I literally got for like I think at Christmas. But on the other hand, at least it doesn't look like it's a janky piece of shit.
Oh, they would have done that with the lighter edition. Oh, but so like I said though, but what was the other big no-no besides Galactus, the fart cloud?
Not having the Fantastic Four actually finish the fight.
Oh, let's
Or
talk
hell,
about.
even during, or hell, even when they have to stop Doom, yes, Doom is back, and oh, he gets cured of his mutations pretty conveniently by the the interference of the Silver Surfer. Yeah, thanks. I didn't really need to see him wearing his Doom attire all that much.
Yeah, we get to see Latveria for all of 5 seconds. It's cool when we actually do see it. Like there it is. There's the
Oh, you
castle. There's the
don't even
town.
see Latveria. We just see the interior of Latveria.
And you're like, okay, is Doom gonna be plotting his revenge from here? And no, he's gonna go to Iceland.
Nope.
Okay, now he's Julian McMahon again, and now the military's working with him. Reed's saying, "Don't trust Doom." When, when the military, oh, we can trust him. Doom kills the military. Shocked Pikachu face.
Uh, but yeah, during the course, like you see Doom having the power of the cosmic board. Of course, he gets a silver makeover, and most he's doing is just kind of flying around and just kind of whipping around his energy beams and all that. So it's basically that's just the final climax of the first movie, and now a little bit more mobile and having more of a y-axis.
And he's still with that calm demeanor while flying on his board, and you're going, ham it up just a
Dude,
little
you're
bit.
you're flying at high altitudes and at max speed. Shout and about for God's sakes! It's literally gonna be that scene from Shazam where like the fucking Mark Strong is pontificating with the grand speech, and you have the hero going, "Hey, "What? Are you talking?
Mark
You can barely hear you from over here."
Mark Strong could be a good Doctor Doom in a future adaptation somewhere. I think. Voice
I
at
hope
least.
that RDJ is willing to be in the mask most of the movie. Honestly, I definitely feel like he would definitely do that. It would be probably be the best way for him to differentiate himself from his Tony Stark role.
Yeah. So then, but yeah. So like I said, the Doctor Doom is fine and all, but he looks more like the comic at least. And he also got like a metal chest upgrade, but and he does get like a gruesome kill when he has the power cosmic. That was pretty cool. But other than that, like I said, though, he gets defeated rather anticlimactically when Johnny decides to do the all four powers at once and end up becoming like a Super Scroll type entity.
Which takes out the whole team aspect of the whole Fantastic Four. See, they're supposed to be a family. They're supposed to fight together. They're supposed they've literally showcased evidence across the movie that they have gotten used to their powers so much that even Sue is able to make someone or something else invisible, or make uh she's able to like walk on air by making invisible force fields under her feet while she's still creating other invisible force fields. But no, we don't get to see them having expanded or learned from their new powers or new abilities. You don't get any of that. You just get Sue getting staked by Doom with the weird pseudo spear, and she's lying near dead on the ground. And everyone decides, you know, okay, what if we actually decide to combine our powers if we can't combine ourselves? Because my fiance is kind of dying in my arms at this moment. I should be reacting a little bit more emotively, but I'm supposed to be a stunted uh, scientist. Even though earlier I had this egotistical speech to one up this jock of a military leader that I used to work with, saying like, "I'm the smartest man on Earth. I'm gonna be married to the hottest girl on the planet," and like. Uh, quarterback jock is now taking orders from me,
That
which
spate
he's not.
comes right from the
Comics
Ultimates
Reed Richards.
comic.
Yeah.
God, the
Anyways, they decided to combine their powers rather than themselves. Yeah, let's make this. Let's give all of our powers to one guy who doesn't know how to use them efficiently. So basically, it's just having like a newbie perspective of handling powers, like the first movie again.
it kind of reminds me of I can solo him. That's the joke. So he does, and then Norrin Rad gets his board and has a nice send off. Reviving Sue before going into space to face Galactus in I think a rather beautiful scene. I mean, if it wasn't for him fighting a fart cloud, it's still kind of majestic with the music and his grand gestures. You go, wow. And then he blows up, and you think, well, I'm sure we'll never see him again. But wait, at the very end, there's hints of a possible Silver Surfer spinoff that'll never happen.
Might as well just have the what happened to it? Imagine that AVGN episode of Silver Surfer where he does the same pose as the defeated Silver Surfer. He says, X didn't always feel like a team in the Fox movies either. I'd argue The Last Stand
At
they acted
least,
more like a team.
at least, and in Apocalypse, not Apocalypse. Yeah, Apocalypse had some good team building moments.
First Class, they were able to be working as a pretty good team
But
for the most part until they got cornered on the beach. But definitely The Last Stand, where they actually are lined up and doing all this against a huge army of like Brotherhood.
and then the speedball special, curveball special. But yeah, so like I said though, that would be the last we'd see of them for a while, and this one didn't make as much money. So of course,
Oops,
reboots were pretty hot at this point. We already have Man of Steel rebooting Superman.
that's okay, Ian.
Yeah, but yeah, so like I said though, so they had an idea to revisit the Fantastic Four, and hey, there's this young up and coming hot director. Just made a movie called Chronicle. So here's where we get to what I have labeled the ugh part, because I'm pretty sure this is gonna
Not pronounced like the SpongeBob narrator. Ugh. It's more like how did Keanu Reeves do it again?
ugh. Like this this is the movie that probably killed Fantastic Four in people's eyes for a long time. Josh
Not just in
Trank's
the movies, but to the TV, to the cartoons, and yes, to the comics.
That would be
There was a
Josh.
literal long string of point where Fantastic Four lost their title book and didn't barely appeared in any of the comics. At the very most, one member might appear, or they would be in the background. But nobody wanted to see any hide or hair of the Fantastic Four after seeing this thing.
Josh Trank's Fantastic Four, as it's known by the poster, Fant Four Stick, which I've only seen for the first time the other day, and the legends are true. Unfortunately. Okay, go ahead and tell us your history with this one, because I know you have a long one.
So, I am one of those that loved Chronicle. I'm a found footage fangirl. I love the movies like Blair Witch Project, the Paranormal Activity trilogy, not the full series, just the first trilogy, first three movies, and of course, having a found footage take on a superhero movie was really interesting because, of course, it would actually lead to a lot of ideas of how you see like these young kids handle learning the ropes of like these new abilities they have, and finding one of them is abused and deciding to take the notion of becoming the apex predator, becoming like this all powerful being, and the other kids having to like step up and have to be the opponent to that. And ultimately, when I heard Josh Trank was going to be directing a Fantastic Four movie, I mean, that's literally that's a no brainer. Like the Chronicle literally had the same kind of otherworldly vibe going on, which even still it was still managed to keep it grounded and realistic, and I thought it'd be probably really great.
Unfortunately,
And then,
there was
then a
that
few
tweet.
years, of course,
There was that tweet.
yeah, oh yeah, the day before it went out in the theaters, you had a tweet from Josh Tranks that I made a version of this movie that be really good.
That you'll never see.
Unfortunately, that's not you're never gonna see it. And I noticed that I went, what does that mean?
He he
What's the movie that's out then? What's
he deleted that tweet
I mean,
like not
like
long after.
I went, okay, maybe who knows? We'll see how it looks. I mean, and I remember I went to the theater. It was with my brother and his friend. I think there was another friend. I don't know. I distinctly strongly remember it was just like three of us involved. I remember sitting down in the theater watching it and seeing it start out and say, "Oh, it's okay. It's a flashback," and uh, well, it started the build up and it's still building up. We're seeing Reed meet the Storm family and the Baxter ability, and it's still building up. Or they're building the machine, and it's 30 minutes. It's still not being super powered yet. It's still, oh my god, 45 minutes in, and we're still uh, not even blasted by a cosmic ray or like bitten by a radioactive spider or nothing. And then, oh my god, they finally get their powers. But then, of course, there's the infamous 1 year later that happens, and my mood just gets sourer and sourer as it goes on. But I'm still holding on. Maybe things will turn around but we're basically following the fucking government stooges rather than the actual characters. I mean, the Fantastic Four. We're not even feeling they're even being like a collected group of people that's being like a found family or anything. We don't get that. We're basically just kids who just got unlucky enough to have powers dumped on them, and they have to uh, follow the government's orders so that they could get funding to build another machine so that they can go back and hopefully find a cure for them. Especially considering the fact that one of them is made into a secret army weapon and is a freaking rock monster, and the stars are worried that Johnny is going to become the next weapon next. And of course, during all this, Reed Richards managed to escape, but then he gets captured in a brief scuffle with Ben Grimm's thing, and he's just back doing what he was doing originally. And the 45-minute build up, which is to set up this machine, and it really just came full circle, didn't we? And then they go back and they find the Victor Von Doom that got lost in the other dimension, got this mutated mask, and oh, oh fucking god, oh god, that's just not Doom. That's not Victor Von Doom. That's just a derivative. And then I, sorry, I kind of blacked out a little bit. I'm just, oh god, oh my god. At a point, I remember like just sitting in the theater. I don't recall ever feeling like this ever for watching a movie. Like maybe I feel like disappointed or just kind of like, okay, well this is what I expected, but it's not really that bad. But I remember when that Doctor Doom scene hit and they played out the not even it's not even Victor Von Doom. I don't even know what to call this thing. But when that hit, I just had a pit in my stomach where I realized this is a piece of shit. This movie is fucking garbage. Does not understand the Fantastic Four at all. Like I should just leave right now. I should just get up out of my chair and just leave. But I at that point it was like they've already established the characters. They've already established the threat and the stakes. I'll say in quotations. And I figure, fuck it. This is an air conditioned building. I'm sitting comfortably on this chair. I got popcorn to finish. I'll just sit and suffer through this. But I'm never gonna watch this thing again. Ugh. It's a feeling I would never feel again until the likes of fucking Resident Evil the Final Chapter, where I just felt my all that build up I did to rewatch all the movies and thinking, wait, maybe I think I finally pieced together like what the overarching plot is. Maybe this film will actually uh really give me credence that I actually found a connection, and then it basically just gave me a big fat middle finger that I wasted my fucking time. And I yes, Ian, the Fantastic Four were just people in the movie. They should. It's even more damning that the actual family, the Storms, they don't even feel like the failure. No, it's not because of one of them is actually white and the other two are black. No, that's I'm not even getting into that bullshit. The bullshit that I'm getting to is the fact that they don't even like act or like feel for each other like they're a family. They don't feel like relief or scared or worried about one another. Like even when the fucking 2000s movies had the storms in their kerfuffle, at least like one of the party was like uh bringing up their family or bringing up how like they wish that their dad could see Sue going down the wedding aisle, or Joning was uh, adamant to make sure that Sue's wedding uh, was going to go off without out a hitch, despite the fact that he jokingly announced to the public that they were going to bid off exclusive wedding photos to eBay. But like I can still buy it. He was just kind of just like ribbing like for a big day. He's just, but not here. Not this. I don't feel anything with this. I feel like poison. I feel like this movie is literally poison to watch. Like I have seen many different superhero movies. I've seen Batman and Robin. I've seen Superman for the Quest for Peace. Yes, I've even seen Supergirl, and God help me, Supergirl was a shit show to witness. I still lament that I sat through it, but I would sit through it again more than I would ever sit to see this movie. And that's saying a lot, considering that Supergirl had weird witch subplots and Supergirl forgetting that she had a mission to save a MacGuffin and had to go undercover to school, even though that's not even part of the mission. And then Jimmy Olsen's involved, and it's just and love potion and all that bullshit. But at least things were happening in the movie. Nothing happens in Fantastic. It is literally. I get it. This movie is what Darkseid has been looking for. This movie is the anti-life equation. It should break down your fucking will and tell you that life has no purpose, no meaning, only nothingness. It's I am really, really, really this movie pissed me off so much that I to this day will not own a copy of it to own. And mind you, I own a copy of both the Ghost Rider movies. I own all the Superman movies, including the Superman 3 and Quest for Peace. I own the fucking Joss Whedon Justice League movie, even though I have hang-ups with that thing, both in universe and out and behind the scenes of it. I own the fucking Ang Lee's Hulk. I own X-Men Origins Wolverine, the very movie everyone recalls me having a huge rant thumbnail on that I will take to the grave as being the worst depictions of Deadpool to ever blight this movie. I will own fucking superhero movie, that weird ass lame like parody exploitation movie where it's just basically like Spider-Man with Drake Josh before Drake Josh actually officially became Spider-Man in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoons. Hell, I even own the other two Fantastic Four movies on DVD with the first movie having the cardboard cover on it. I Hell, I'll even admit it. I actually own the first two fucking Twilight movies, but never will you ever see me have the fucking audacity to have this fucking movie on any of my shelves anywhere. God. I'm gonna have a fucking aneurysm after having that explosive moment. I fucking own the Super Mario Brothers 1993 movie over this. I would sit through and watch that over this. Ugh, my god. Joyless is putting it lightly, Ian. It's gotta be like a science experiment of how to make a superhero movie minus the superheroes. It's so bad that people will have will be able to point out if an actress has a wig on or her natural hair dyed colored. Oh god, the wig is so fucking obvious. It's like even I noticed it the first time I watched it. I just noticed that the hair is kind of like way blonder and stuff. I originally thought, oh, like guess the time passed and like she let her hair grow out. Nope, it flips back and forth between the two constantly to the point where it just aggravates you. And the most egregious thing is like a lot of people give the fucking Godzilla 2014 movie shit for having things happen like off to the corner or on TV screens and all that. But at least eventually you get to have the big monster moment in the movie at the very end that we've been building up to. Here, we don't even get to see like the thing go all ham on things. It's all mitigated to footage that you actually see in the trailers on the fuller screen. It's I really hate it when Josie leads me to talk like this, but you know what? At this point, I actually feel vindicated to have to talk about this because I just want to shit talk this movie so much. I feel like you could actually replace all the actors in this movie with hand carved wood puppets with like slit mouths that just open in and out as they talk, and you still get the same story told with the same emotional veneer as they do in this movie. Like everyone talks in a monotone voice, unless there's a scene that says they have to be emoting harder or it's just ah. Oh boy, I hope that this conversation isn't being heard over. I hope that's not too personal what we're hearing going on over there. But yeah. What else? What else? What else? Oh yeah. Let's also talk about the fact that we spent so much of our time building up this machine, this like really hammering it home. Oh, this is the most realistic, grounded way the Fantastic Four get their powers. Like, forget going up into space or having like a space station accident or anything like that. That's too science fictiony. That's way too out there. No, that's like I'd argue at least the Amazing Spider-Man movies, like despite how like nonsensically gritty they are to the point where it's like we're just the worst that the Amazing Spider-Man movies did was just kind of hamstring us along with the advertising that there was going to be like uh, more deeper, hidden, untold story about Peter's origins. That the parents were actually more involved in this than anyone ever realized. And of course, it's just basically just a generic reboot origin movie with some like oily like uh, body ice luge suits repurposed into a superhero costume. But at least Peter gets his powers like if within the 20-minute mark. Like we didn't have to sit our asses and wait for 45 minutes until something actually happened. Like how do you do that? Never once have I ever seen a superhero movie that took us almost nearly an hour before they actually become their superpowered markers. This is supposed to be a superhero movie. We came here for the superheroes. Why are you holding on to basically what everyone has been waiting to see happen for years now? For after like the Silver Surfer movie like bombed at the box office to see these four heroes get their big screen second chance only to have it just go to absolute butts. And the worst part about it is the worst part I feel is that there's really nothing that stands out. The music doesn't stand out. The setting doesn't stand out. At some points, like I feel like the setting is basically just like closed off military rooms and big open classic ground, which they don't even get to explore that much. They just step out of their little test tube, walk over to some green glowing goo, and realize, oh shit, this place is like really active. Let's get the hell out of here. Like, oh, it's oh see, God, Jancy is coming back. I need a break before I have an aneurysm. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to keep you hanging there, but I'm sure you had a lot to let out.
Oh, I had more than enough to say, but I need a break before I lose my fucking mind. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna save the big killing point of me for after you touch your feelings on the movie overall, Mister. Oh, I don't think the transfer. I think all the Transformers movies have merit, or ooh, I think AVPM Requiem isn't all that bad if you get down to it, or ooh, I think the original Sonic movie design is actually pretty cute. What did you think of this movie out of all the other underdogs?
I think the Markiplier quote summed it up the best. I don't know what the fuck just happened. What was that? What was any of that? What happened? Especially the last fight. Like, this movie really is a whole lot of nothing. Nothing happens. I mean, we spend 50 minutes of the runtime before we even get them going to the expedition, when the other movies would have been in 15 minutes. It doesn't utilize its time well. A lot of stuff is missing. The obvious reshoots make it very messy. It's just a lot went wrong. Where I'm going, like, when people say they've seen a bad movie, you have to pull up this and say, basically, it's like basically we're Dr. Loomis, and everyone's saying, "Are you kidding me? I just seen the worst piece of shit just now." You don't know what shit is.
Oh my god, I didn't even bring up that they had to retweak certain aspects of the what we find iconic with the Fantastic Four, like the Ben Grimm's the things, the iconic it's clobber time. In the movie it's introduced as a traumatic trigger word that happens in his abusive big brother comes in to slap his face in. That's yeah, that's what we want to associate the goofy iconic line that we had a little uh Marvel Legends stand-in action figure squeak out in the first Tim Story movie.
Oh my god! Like I said though, and the sad thing is, there's talented people. Michael B. Jordan, huge talent. Miles Teller, wonderful
Oh,
actor.
Michael B. Jordan, man, it's you later go down to portraying a freaking Killmonger. He'd take up the mantle of as Adonis Creed for the well done follow-up movies to the Rocky franchise. Sinners, fucking sinners. Do I have to explain sinners?
It's just like, his Johnny doesn't really speak. I mean, I know there's more ways to show youth angst than just being the reckless hothead, but it feels like he's reckless, but not in the same way as like Chris Evans is. And you
Like
know,
the most reckless he gets is breaking his arm, and then that's it.
but oh my gosh, here's the biggest thing that's the big sin in this movie, besides how it handles its antagonist, is for a movie about a team, a family, the members barely interact, like, at all.
The only one that gets any interaction with all of them is the Reed Richards. It's literally like the 5 degrees of Kevin Bacon. But Kevin Bacon is literally the only one that's interacting with everyone. Everyone else does nothing.
Oh, how cute! Like, Sue Storm knows about his little Finding Nemo thing. That'll only for plot relevance, but that's it. Johnny gets drunk with Reed before they go off over there. Um, Ben, poor Ben, guy gets roped into this just because Reed needs a good luck charm, and well, damns him for it.
Yeah, he wasn't even involved in this. The fucking Tim Story ones, he was actually uh picked by Reed himself to join in to like the majority of the mission. He's the one that goes out to put like Reed's experimental flowers to get blasted by the cosmic rays. He's going in the astronaut suit out there to the wild blue black yonder, whatever the fucking song is. I'm trying to brace myself to talk about the biggest sin of this movie, but
And then,
what else? What else is there? Uh, yeah, they don't again they don't interact. There's barely any like love connection between Sue and Reed, even though we know that they're supposed to be eventually be a thing because the comics tell us. But it feels like this movie like keeps slapping us in the face and telling us, "Put down your fucking comic books. This is a movie. Grow the fuck up."
and oh my gosh, all the speechifying that Franklin Richards does, that you're like, okay, this guy, like, your kids, one of your kids is on fire, and one's like sliding in and out of intangibility. Emote, you said. Oh,
It says, I don't even think Johnny and Ben interact once, but they still haven't making. No, actually, to be fair, I initially thought that too. But then I recall, oh wait, no, Reed actually introduced Ben to uh, Victor and Johnny before they decided to drunkenly go off into across the dimension. And the most Ben does is ask, like, you guys know what you're doing, right? And of course, Johnny jokingly says, yes, he's like squeaking down his recline chair. But that's it. That's all the interaction they get.
and then
Well,
of
I
course,
guess that equates to like Johnny decided to be an absolute dick to him at the end because oh, Johnny and Ben have this really antagonistic role that they have between the two of them.
the
It's like in the comics. Oh, shut up! Don't bring up the comics. Fucking grow up.
the montaging
God,
of them being military weapons. Oh, that got under your skin.
all the montages of them being government weapons, but then there's also a montage of them building the machine. Oh, but then they slip in like a little character moment where they're eating like takeout, and it's like, oh wait, that's character building. Wait, go back. What are you doing?
And then of course, did you mention Tim Blake Nelson, the leader, as Doctor What's his face Harvey something? Who's meant to be like a
I just
mole man
call him the
proxy?
government suit stooge.
Yeah, but that I kept making Doctor
I did,
Stern's jokes with
I
him.
did that. I did bring at one point that the government stooges literally hijacked the movie that's meant for the Fantastic Four. It just has them going through the motions like, well, here's how realistically we would react to people who would be the Fantastic Four if they were in our real world. Is yeah, as much as they have a love-hate relationship with Man of Steel, at least I can understand like they had a point to make about, oh, how would our world react if Superman like came announced to the world and all that in modern day, and it's like, unfortunately, that being the case, we're so vindictive and so devoid of any kindness and decency that we would be kind of assholes to treat the Man of Steel like that.
Hmm.
Of
But
course, we would be that jaded to think like, ooh, we're gonna make such a killing to weaponize these kids to have ultimate power, and then once we finish the exterior, we can totally juice up an entire army with this cosmic dimension.
yeah, like the motivation. I mean, why the hell is the urgency to go back the second time around? It's not like they detected Victor's signal or anything. Well, now that I said his name, we might as well get to this part. Oh,
Uh, you know, I feel like the worst thing a comic book movie can ever do is not do the character. Now, to be fair, you could point out to some movies that kind of do that, like say Iron Man 3, where the Mandarin turns out to be like a ploy. Like they have a face to kind of hide all these accidents that happen.
blood of my blood, flesh of my flesh, built to destroy you. Your
But
doomsday.
to be fair, at least the reason they did it is because the original character is like racist as all shit. It wouldn't be until later where they realize, okay, we actually figured out how we can handle doing a character like this in Shang-Chi without it being a freaking caricature.
But like I mentioned, doomsday kind of is roughly doomsday, but people would argue that Lex Luthor in that is more Enigma than Riddler. I mean, than Luthor in BVS.
He's supposed to be the Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk
Oh,
version of Lex Luthor,
Nicholas
which
Holt does that much better.
yeah. And yeah, Doomsday does is kind of a little bit different, but at least he's still doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to cause destruction, chaos, and bring death to the Man of Steel.
But then there's this Doom.
I should we even call him that? I think we should just call him Mood, because that's all he seems to be? He's just this entity that's just moody and oh god. I feel like with each iteration, we like pull this guy away from like how how he's supposed to be. At first, he was like this uh entity that did have a rule over a country and had men and a castle and all that. And then no, let's strip it down. Let's like make him like be from the old country of Latveria, but now he's running a corporation and has powers. Like okay, that's a little bit stripped down, but I guess in the realistic modern day sense, that kind of is a bit admittedly lame. But at least he has like a sense of power and leadership. Nope, now that's 10 years there. Let's strip him down even more. And now he's just a hacker that hates the government. He's basically just every tin-headed tool head that thinks he's smarter than everyone else.
He's not even a
And I just sit
doctor.
there going like, so you basically just made him be a whiny prick.
Uh, I mean, not to
A,
not not
a,
to
a, a blatant know-it-all.
not to rub salt in the wound, but I think Doc this Doom would sign the release the Snyder cut thing. uh, Slacktivist. He has like a slacktivist vibe, where oh I'm doing. I don't know. Like I said though, this really his original name was going to be Victor Von something else, but they thought, well, that might confuse the people, so we just kept it was another D name, so they just kept the Doom. But there's nothing that says Von
Oops.
Doom about this guy.
Oops, missed Ian again. Having a Fantastic Four being government weapons sounds like something I would have come up with in 8th grade when I was going through my aimlessly edgy phase, which is not a good thing. You just go back. No reason, no explanation. Hugh now wants to end the world. That's the opposite of his goals. He wants to rule the world. Nailed it right in the fucking head.
And don't get us started on the look.
Basically, how they portray this dude is that he has fallen into a pool of weird dimensional green gloop. I don't know what's it's supposed to be emulating, but
And
it's basically
suddenly I'm a
like
minty green flavor.
it's supposed to be, I guess, the lifeblood of this dimension, and it's burned and steeped his uh suit, his safety suit, onto him, right down to like the face mask that everyone is wearing when they initially go forth in there. Like ridges and all that.
Going back to derivativeness, I felt like they were trying to emulate the horror of that scene from Prometheus when Fifield fell face first into the goo and his glass helmet started to melt to his face. But it's Fox, so I wouldn't be surprised.
But then what's even worse is that he initially goes to them, basically acts like relieved to have found people to bring him in. Also, he has a cloak for some reason. He didn't have that when he went.
Wouldn't it be?
Actually, wait. Now that I just think about it, didn't they go there with a flag to kind of do the whole Neil Armstrong thing, and they left it so basically the thing is a like,
He's he's wearing
card.
A solid American flag. Oh, that
Oh God, I actually put effort in thinking of. I actually did a kind of actually thinking of how they actually got that thing and how they built up with some mirror. I feel like I just committed a war crime somehow.
But yeah, oh my god, like I said though,
But yeah, he gets rescued, and then he initially decides, you know what? Actually, I just remembered after being left out into the that planet that's been alive and keeping me alive, and I am one with it and all that. And coming back here, and I reminded how like it's got that bad stench of humanity and all that. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to wipe the soul slate clean because
it,
you're pretty much the one that's poisoning my world, not the other way
it
around.
comes out of nowhere too.
It could be one thing if like the soldiers that recovered him like reacted and fired at him. They don't do that. Doom in this movie is like the main character for. Oh, fuck you, man. He had way more build up
And
to that.
and I said this. Imagine
To,
if
even insist, even insist he comes close to that.
it's
It's
okay.
just insulting
It's okay, Ian.
to Connor.
It's okay. You know, I think he deleted the message in apology, but I was gonna say though, um, imagine if Dane DeHaan had been this Doom, because I think the studio must have loved Toby Kebbell's work as
I'm
Koba,
pretty sure they wanted to. If only Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't happen.
but then I think they wanted Toby Kebbell because they must have loved his work as Koba. So they said, "Hey, you played a good villain. Hey, let's make the villain." Poor Toby. Even he admitted, "Yeah, there's some things that just didn't work in the end."
That would be funny if they didn't have someone else be filming his scenes as Mood.
In the climax, yeah, the final fight with them. That's not even Toby Kebbell doing reshoots.
Basically, they went to the effort of reshooting the movie and didn't get their bad guy. This is like trying to do pickups for Superman Returns and not getting Kevin Spacey.
But yeah, and the whole fight feels tacked on too. It feels like, well, this is a superhero movie. We need them to punch stuff.
Oh my god! Right down to having the uh, giant light beam go into the sky. Like we made people have made jokes about this. Like at a point you go like, oh, I mean, there's like a significant reason it's supposed to be a beacon of like harbinger of doom, but at least when like those lights were happening, there was like a reason for it. Like with Avengers, there's like it was basically like a wormhole. It was opening a wormhole for a mindless army to come down.
But I mean, okay.
Or in or even in Amazing Spider-Man, where it's basically uh fighting a disease for the lizard mutation, but Spider-Man was able to double configure it to be a cure-all.
But, oh my gosh, like you know what would have been cool? In his time in the dimension, Doom used his cosmic powers to make like synthetic carbon life forms to make basically Doom bots. So the Fantastic Four has a whole army to face at least.
It would have made more sense considering the fact that like than what the stupid powers they. Okay, when Doom was literally like causing like a huge like kerfuffle in the military base, it's basically just Elfin Lied. This is not Fantastic Four movie. This is Elfin Lied the movie now.
But oh my goodness,
Like when you agree to I would have thought you had actually seen Elfin Lied because I really haven't. I just know that some people have kind of compared it to that, and
I have seen it.
it's basically where basically the character is just walking down a hallway, they're not doing anything, and basically everything is just like uh being pureed or sautéed or smashed into uh lights or disintegrated or burning it alive or whatever.
I mean, well, this is how bad it is. You know, freaking Stan Lee declined to make a cameo in this movie, and he was still alive at the time.
Oh my god, no! You know what's damning thing is the most damning thing of all. Stanley actually looked at the script of where he would be cameoing. I don't even know which scene it would be, honestly, because I probably will never even know because he just looked through the script and said, "Yeah, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be in this one." When Stanley declines a cameo in your movie, that is when shit should fall in bricks.
Another thing too, um, I know we're jumping all around, but Sue, um, what exactly does she really do? I mean, it frustrates me that Sue wasn't even part of the expedition that goes. She ends up getting collateral damage when the machine explodes and gets powers from that, which is really weird to me.
Oh, she finds patterns. I don't know what that fucking means either, but that's basically the only reason they like are able to track Reed Richards because he's supposed to be hiding out at the really abysmal CG shot of his face morphing, which you're really bad. You're really screwed, and your face morphing is shit compared to the 2005 movie version. Hell, even compared to the deleted alternate scene of that moment in the 2005 movie where like Ian Grufford was going to morph his face to look like fucking Hugh Jackman.
I would tell you would have liked a stronger man. It was Hugh Jackman. But oh man, let's see.
Ian doesn't even remember anything Sue does in this movie. She does
Let's.
nothing.
But did you talk
All she
about
does is like all she does is make crates invisible and then knocks them with invisible bubbles.
now? There's a faint damning praise I can make for this movie is
Oh
Ben.
God.
Ben does look good in the scenes he actually gets to do stuff. Ben looks like the Thing.
It's just sad considering that he's not acting like the Thing. He's not. He's the thing about the Thing about Ben Grimm is that despite his rough, rocky, monstrous, big brow, like huge lower jaw look and four-fingered deformities, he's supposed to be an honest, good-hearted guy. He's a New Yorker with the golden heart. He does not act like that at all
He's
during that in the movie.
he's
Like,
mostly
oh sure, he's nice to read.
He's mostly
That's
skulking.
basically like the it's supposed to. I wouldn't say he's skulking. I think in most of the movies he's just kind of like has this weird, wide-eyed look of like surprise of, or no, not surprise. It's wide-eyed look of confusion. It's like, should I be doing something here? Like, what am I doing?
Well, it's kind of funny how Sue and Ben barely interact in this movie, yet their real life actors ended up getting married. So at least one good thing came out of this travesty.
I can't remember anything Ben does either. Oh no, he does things. It just kind of relegated to the TV in the background.
Yeah, military montage. The trailer had that famous shot of him doing a dive bomb in an airplane. They cut it for time. I mean, normally I would say, oh, this was all Trank's fault or this was all Fox's fault, but this is definitely Studio Million where they cut out 3 action scenes for time.
Who the fuck cuts off action scenes?
I mean, we could.
You'd have to be making the most backwards ass dildo up in your arse decision making to even think of doing that
All right. So
for a superhero movie.
anyway, so
Oh, I guess they just really, I guess they were so adamant to want to save footage of having Dan Castellaneta cameo as Reed's teacher. That was like so like important
necessary.
to get because Fox had The Simpsons ahead.
Anyway, so
Asshole.
anyway, ready to really get steamed. I have notes of what the original script that the Jeremy Slater, the guy who wrote Moon Knight later, he admitted the script was when he first wrote it was more MCU like in tone, and there were guys like Galactus and Mole Man involved. So, notes: the first act of the original draft, huh?
Which on the side, if you're like reboot movie is gonna involve so many villains in one go, uh, just stop and take a step back and go, okay, let's not do all these guys. Let's try to pick which one we feel like we'll get a bigger, stronger story out of for first go.
Okay, so first act of
Which personally, if you would ask me, I would actually ask to do the Mole Man and try to emulate the first comic. You remember the first comic where they have the comic art of like this creature that's like crawled out from the bottom of the earth. You see all the Fantastic Four uh, having to deal with like their own strengths and weaknesses and have to team up against this monster thing. It would be probably they could have like written in that it was actually controlled by the Mole Man.
so
That's
so so here
here.
is
I literally just gave you your awesome reboot concept idea for you.
so here it is. So it says Josh Trank and Jeremy Slater was different from the final film. So the first act of the original draft is the first 2/3 of the final movie. The original script is more closer to MCU in tone. The script features the origins of the Four, Doctor Doom, Galactus, Mole Man, Herbie the Robot, and the Fantastic Car. Ben is still Reed's muscle, keeping him safe from bullies. This aspect makes Reed's decision to bring Ben into the negative zone make a little more sense. Reed goes to the Baxter Building as part of a science scholarship that he meets Sue, who is working with Dr. Elder, who is on the cutting edge of his biology field making moloids. Dr. Elder's Mole Man, Reed also visits Victor Von Doom, who takes the nerdy Reed to parties where he meets and falls for Sue. Meanwhile, Ben has become sad as Reed stopped calling him and he's made his choice. He's skipping college and going to join the army. There's no older Dr. Storm character. Sue calls her brother Johnny as a last resort when they're about to take a trip to the negative zone. Victor Von Doom's actually a spy for his homeland of Latveria and is leaking Reed's research to them. So Latveria figures much more in this original draft. When the team uses the quantum gate, it's because their school refuses to let them use it, which causes the team to use it under cover of night. Reed calls in
Oh
Ben.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
go
yeah.
on.
Pause on that for a minute. The reason that they decide to go on to visit the negative zone in the movie is because they successfully tested and proved that they can do it. And of course, the higher ups are saying, "Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. You're able to put so much effort and work into this. Now we're gonna get the big boys to handle it. We're gonna bring NASA in. We're gonna have people who are trained to handle hostile, uh, strange, like otherworldly environments." And kids are like, "But but we made it. We want to go, dude. You guys are barely into college right now. These guys are supposed to be able to train in high gravity intense fields in like, having to deal with like bone density and all of that. You, I can trust these guys to handle and shit goes down. You guys can't handle anything. Of course, they all get drunk and think, oh, we could totally like do like Neil Armstrong and put the flag on the planet. And of course, they stupidly make the whole accident is literally a drunken spur.
And I,
That's what's.
and I quoted AVP. I said, "You wanted to come without proper prep. You did. You wanted to be the first ones here. You are. You claim the dig. It's yours."
Anyway, continue with the notes.
Uh, when the team uses the quantum gate, it's because the foe refuses to. Reed calls him Ben, the person he trusts most, even if the relationship is strained. Sue is staying behind. Johnny is helping her man to controls from the side of the portal. Ben gets promised that he'll be the first human to step foot on the other side of the portal. And when they go to the negative zone, they find an alien city with its entire population dead, and they find the destroyer, Galactus. Galactus seamlessly kills Victor with dark matter while Reed and Ben make it to the module, but it's not working. On the other side of the portal, Sue is working fiercely to fix a circuitry that won't allow the module to return home. Galactus nears as Sue finally fixes the machine, and he blasts at the module with dark matter. Dark matter hits the quantum gate, and there's a reaction, and the entire team, the two in the module and the two in the lab, are pelted with some kind of cosmic madness. The scene of the team waking up in the wreckage is similar to here with Johnny on fire, screaming, Ben trapped in stone. Sue's condition is much more obvious though, with the skin on her face disappearing and showing her musculature, so ooh, we didn't really get body horror with Sue that much.
Nope. You just use the same effects they did with Jessica Alba. That's
The script
is
jump
it can't because fuck us if you want to be innovative with Susan Storm.
the script jumps ahead 4 years instead of one, where Johnny becomes a reality TV star, Sue goes back to medicine and uses her invisibility powers to look inside of patients suffering from serious cancers. Dr. Elder wants to come work on the Moloid program, but Sue won't. She thinks it'll be weaponized. Reed is in hiding because he blames himself for the destruction caused at the Baxter building, where he has built a Herbie robot while trying to sell the Fantastic car to Toyota, and Ben is working for the military. Meanwhile,
Okay.
Latveria creates their own quantum gate thanks to the information that Victor sent them. They send a team through, only Doom returns, however, and takes over the country with his powers, now acting as Galactus's herald.
Uh. Okay. That's still definitely not Victor Von Doom. He's of all things, he would definitely not call himself a herald of anybody but his own self.
Sue has been trying to cure Ben using her cancer research, but it isn't working. Victor's people, called shock troopers who are armed with futuristic weapons, attack Reed in Indonesia. When he notices the weapons are based on his designs, Reed realizes that this is to be Victor's work and that Victor's still alive. After failing to contact Sue, he uses the Fantastic car and flies to the Baxter building, bringing Herbie along as well. At the same time, shock troopers attack.
Holy shit!
Huh.
So we, so instead of having a movie that has too much things going at once, we decided to have a movie that has nothing going on.
At the same time, shock troopers attack Sue and John in the Baxter building. During the fight, Dr. Elder is transformed into Mole Man by accident. While Johnny and Sue fight the creatures, a moloid comes into contact with dark matter and becomes a giant creature. When Reed finally arrives, the giant creature bursts out of the ground. Ooh, oh, callback. Ben, Ben, who happens to be working nearby looking at puppies in a pet shop window, hears a commotion and runs over. The team engage the giant moloid, and the battle ends when Ben gets swallowed and tries to fight his way out. When he finally gets out of the moloid's mouth, he sees that Reed has slingshotted a bus at the creature, and Johnny has set it on fire and heading it right toward the mouth and Ben. So that would have been a cool action scene. Then it would have had them being Fantastic Four together.
I mean, it's cool, but good God, so much stuff happens.
The rest of the
I feel like
script
this.
has,
I
has
feel like the movie that you're describing would literally be on par in length and pace with Zack Snyder's Justice League.
the rest of the script
4-hour movie.
has the
Oh,
team.
I get it. 4, because like the Fantastic Four. Fuck you.
The rest of the script has the team coming together to go to Latveria, now the center of the international incident, because Victor has built a giant dark energy cannon. He needs to use it to destroy Galactus. It seems that Victor's only chance at survival in the negative zone was to act as Galactus' herald and help him find a new world to eat Earth. But Von Doom intends to destroy the Destroyer before that can happen. Okay, is that more in Doom's character?
Yes, but still.
The team uses their powers in more ways in the script. Sue finally gets a lot to do. She helps Reed escape from the government facility after the Moloid battle, and she's able to create a force field that reduces wind resistance on the Fantastic Car. Oh, that thing bugged you when they Sue had their shields to go through the portal. You know, okay, but then Johnny's just willy nilly flying through.
Like, what is the point of this thing?
Reed uses his powers to become a living airbag in a crash. He survives a grenade attack, and in the end, his biggest contribution is to the is Herbie. The final battle is in Latveria, but it's revealed the shape-shifting Doom there is a Doombot. Victor is actually physically attached to the planet in the negative zone and has sent tendrils of his being to Earth. The film ends with him trapped in the negative zone, the Fantastic Four telling the government Galactus is coming, and retooling the Baxter Building as their home base and a school for smart kids who can help defeat the coming menace of Galactus. This version of the script was rejected by 20th Century Fox as it would have been too expensive, which is why they hired Simon Kinberg
Oh fucking shit!
to rewrite the film, resulting in the final version.
Like, I think they would have just like ran out the budget. Like by the time we even got to, fuck, I don't know, when like they finished building the machine.
I don't know, like too much going on versus nothing happening, like you said.
God. Ian says, "Don't get me wrong, I like this more than what we got, but still."
God, this is Duel of the Fates versus Rise of Skywalker all over again.
Hey, at least Rise of Skywalker, like the second half is actually pretty boffo. I feel. First
Yeah.
one is like, slow the fuck down.
Basically, you're the video game nerd playing Micro Mike. Even if you have the fastest reflexes, you won't be able to piece the story together. If only the story could just slow the fuck down. But this, I don't know. Like I said though, their Doom is all wrong. The team is barely a team, and then the only thing that
You
got
know how they defeat Doom?
it's called
If
Goku,
basically,
a bridge Goku.
actually, to quote Pickle, I figured it out. We just need to hit him really, really hard.
That's exactly what they do. Not
Yeah, they
even
just surprise sucker punch him with Sue making Engrim thing invisible, and then of course he brings up, "Hey, it's Clobber time!"
boom.
Yay! I'm so glad we brought back the traumatizing trigger word to be the finishing blow to this guy, delivering the same type of punch and aggression, because that's what he's gonna tie that phrase to now. That's yeah. Doom just gets like sucker punched right into the glowing spear into the sky, and then gets disintegrated to nothing, like literal nothing, to the point where even if they were planning to make a sequel, the actor at up and down said, "Fuck this! I am not coming back for this."
Yeah. So the alien saying, guess you could call her the Hollow Woman, talking about the see-through face. I was kind of into that until Doom being Galactus's herald. Don't get me wrong, I like this more than what we got, but still.
I said that before, but I just want to. Oh wow!
But like you said though, it's
I just want to look at the Rotten Tomatoes score. 9% critically, 18% audience.
So audiences liked it a little more, huh?
Barely.
I guess there's
But
some
to be
that.
fair,
Hmm.
they probably are only like half of brains more, considering the fact that they wanted to be entertained. They did not get entertained, but at least probably like the effects look pretty decent, I guess, especially the thing.
Did-
But it's the critics who had a little bit more brain juice to realize
This
this is
movie,
vapid and has nothing to have any merit whatsoever.
I think
Or
someone.
as
I,
Protein Robot from MST3K pointed out, we hope you've enjoyed No Moral Theater, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, like someone said, it felt like a 90-minute trailer for a movie that never was going to come out, or the longest pre-title, sequence ever. Oh, they do that thing where they show the
Oh,
Fantastic Four title at the very end.
right before they even say what their official name is, like,
The
okay,
stupid
to be
meme.
fair, at least when fucking uh they do it in uh Avengers: Age of Ultron, of course they're just like blue balling the audience because they're saving it for like a much more uh bigger moment. Like it's we eventually get that through Endgame. Here, I'd argue it feels like they just don't want to say the name of their movie because they're just ashamed of being a comic book movie. I equated to Likara when he reviewed Action Comics 775. What's so funny about Truth, Justice, the American Way, the Superman comic, and he always like is bemused how like comic books always try to make characters and situations try to say like we're not like those comic books. It's like I'm not like those comic books. Take me seriously. I'm in a
Like I said though, but we get the funny bit with the whole. We come a long way from the garage.
Just say fantastic.
Reed blinks.
Say that again.
What? It
It
says
said it's fantastic. Guys, I know what we're gonna call ourselves. We're gonna call ourselves
title drop.
the Ravagers.
That would
That's a
actually.
stupid fucking name.
Oh, by the way, I did yell out to her when Reed showed up with that springy suit. I said, "What the fuck is he wearing?" Oh, the lack of uniforms kills this
Yeah,
for
that's
me.
supposed to be. Yeah, they're not like. Fuck, Ben doesn't even have a uniform. He's buck ass naked. Like this is what we wanted to think a grittier Fantastic Four movie needed. Like Ben not having any pants.
Because of all the things to worry about, the Rock Man has
It's
no
like I'm
pants.
wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. God damn it, Ben Grimm.
But it's just uh, my best friend's dad is very lenient on movies. When asked about this one, then Dad, want to see that one? He said, "What about this one?" He said, "About what do you think of this one?" He just went, "No, mijo, just no."
God fucking hell, man. And you, a lot of people, you're an apologist for a lot of things. I've already listed so many more. I could list so many more other movies that you find have a soft spot for. You feel like you know what, in the right circumstances, in the right mood, and the right time of day, and like we're in the fucking blue mood, like January 32nd. I can find some merit to this. There is nothing to salvage in this.
I think I was kinder to Quest for Peace.
And Quest for Peace at least like sobered me up after the Supergirl movie. And as I said in my huge rant, I would rather watch Supergirl again before I even watch this thing. I only watched this thing just to pretty much put the nail in the coffin after 10 years of stewing on it, at least knowing that there is a good Fantastic Four movie just on our doorstep as we are speaking.
Yeah, and um uh like I said though, I watched it just out of curiosity's sake. But this is the first movie I've heard you get like mad at. You were upset with Jason Goes to Hell. You were upset with Requiem. You're upset with all those movies, but none of them made you feel like
I still technically own Requiem. That's how damning I hate this movie. I will not have it in my shelf. I own the first two fucking Twilight movies, man. Twilight movies.
like yeah. This was. I mean, like I said, when Tim Miller was still attached to direct Deadpool 2, his idea was to have the Fantastic Four show up just to die in that hilarious X Force sequence, only for Ben Grimm to survive and fight the Juggernaut and everything, or at least give the Fantastic Four some redemption. But never came to be because they switched to David Leitch.
I remember there were audiences that were like excited, hoping that this Fantastic Four would probably uh have a crossover with the X-Men. And when the movie came out, it was like, no, no, let's no, you just keep the X-Men away from that, please.
I think the best way that summed it up was that it's some random guy skit that you commented on. It's just so hilarious where Ben is just stone silent the entire time, and Batman and Superman are trying to give him free shots against their movie. They're just trying to be nice to him, cheer him up, and
Oh no, not even to their movie. It was their trailer to the movie. Their movie hadn't even come out yet.
they're like, "Oh no, we're too dark. We have a no joke policy. Don't make a joke." Like the Ben says nothing. And my favorite part, I heard the catering was quite good, and that.
Just get
No,
out.
okay, we're out of here. Oh my god, that.
Oh, they keep joking about it. The videos actors like, "Come on, Batman, we really gonna have to fight these guys. We're gonna already spending your time fighting each other. I'll be fighting you. Callie be fighting Tony.
Fox is
Fox
fighting
is
reality.
fighting reality."
It's just, oh man, like this. I mean, even it even made it probably even killed the idea of using letters as numbers as letters, except for a few cases like Screeforum and
Megan.
Screams. Yeah, but other than that, like that this had that whole four in the A, so you had that whole Fant Four Stick name.
It's just basically what people call it because this movie does not deserve any amount of respect.
It's
It
not that.
doesn't give any amount of care. So we're basically just gonna mock it the way that they presented it.
I mean, it's not named. It's not fantastic by any stretch of the word.
The, the four of them don't even feel like they're a team, so it's basically just like it's just four main leads just kind of in the same room.
It just wasted everyone's time, a waste of talent. I'm glad everybody who was involved was able to move on from it, except for Josh Trank, poor guy.
But again, I reiterate the fucking irony that Avi Arad wanted the original Roger Corman film to not see the light of day to like not make sure that the fit legacy and the iconography of the Fantastic Four is not tarnished by this like inferior product. This is just made to not be released to the public. Oh, but this one gets a fucking pass.
But
It ended up nearly killing off the Fantastic Four comics.
to be fair, Arad was working for Sony at this point, so he had no say. He was busy getting the Venom universe set up. But
The
anyway,
MCU FF tie-in comic says, "We're so happy to celebrate the team's anniversary." That's cute. I see how there was this studio called Franchise Pictures. They made Battlefield Earth,
and here's the
effing crying face. It's like karma.
here's the bad thing. It's not so bad that you can laugh at it. It's not so bad that it's good. It's not Mortal Kombat
You,
Annihilation where we could like just
oh my god. For most of the time, okay, whenever we like to watch me and Josie, we'll always like to either quote the movie, which obviously wasn't going to happen because this is his first time watching it, so he doesn't know any lines. And I for sure am not going to be wanting to remember anything of that. Or we just kind of make like jokes or remarks of what we're seeing. For almost 30 minutes, we were almost dead quiet.
and then Of course, like
That's how bad it was being.
I just summed it up with that Markiplier quote by the end. Like, what was any of that?
What the fuck is that? What happened? What is that?
It's just yeah. And by the way, I do hear there's some way to salvage some things from this, like in some multiversal thing. Maybe have Miles Teller become the Maker in some meta way, but I don't think Miles Teller want anything to do with this anymore.
And of course, the next time we see the Fantastic Four, we for starters, we get everyone's most wanted fan casted to be Mr. Fantastic, the fucking guy from The Office, before he gets spaghettified by Wanda.
And then we get Johnny and Chris Evans reprising Johnny in Wolverine, only to get fatalitized by um no
Andrew
Cassandra.
Nova.
Cassandra, yeah. But he does have a
Rightfully so, though. That he literally ran his mouth off one too much to the point where it told Daredevil, like, you could literally quote me. Okay.
and and you gotta admit though,
Like, mink, motherfucker.
yeah, uh, Chris Evans said he only agreed to do the role again because he allowed to say that profane rant. But this leads to the funniest bit where Deadpool
This
sees.
film feels like a depressing dream.
It's so funny when.
To the point where I have to wonder why they decided to have that in that homage to the Deadpool Wolverine
Oh yeah.
movie. Like, I can understand showing the X series. I can like understand if they showed Exit Arches Wolverine as much as they have a seething, loathing ulcer that literally has its name tattooed into its own face in my system. It still got Ryan to be in the role and led to that moment to have the big union between
Wait.
uh, Hugh and Ryan.
During the goodbye to the Fox universe, did they have any Fat Four stick footage?
They did.
Oh,
They showed like Michael B. Jordan and like some of that stuff, and I just did go like, did we really need to be reminded of that? Couldn't we replace that footage with like, I know it's a different studio, but clearly they have the rights to mention it. Let's see footage from Universal's Blade movies.
but yeah.
And I know it won't make any sense to be a wrap up to like the image of the Fox movie, but who the fuck's even gonna care unless someone IMDb is like, "Hey, is Blade a Fox movie?"
I don't know, but it's just sad. Just sad, and it'll continue to be sad. I mean, no amount of me rewatching it will make me say, "Oh, I get it," because it's not like Alien 3, where you got to grasp
There
it.
was at least the alternate. There was at least an alternate cut with it, which has like an actual meaning and like reason for certain things to be done.
And Trank himself said he would, even if he did have any of the extra footage shot, he would have no interest in going back and finishing it because
Oh, Blade was New Line. Well, tomato. It was studio not like Fox.
But point is though is that even he said, yeah, I'm not going back to that. But anyways,
But but we can finally pass it off as like a bad dream. It's 10 years have gone by. We revisited just to for the sake of like putting it into being banished to be forgotten as the latest iteration of the Fantastic Four movie, as we now have the MCU finally taking the reins and deciding, you know what? Why don't we just, instead of making it be a modern movie, let's make it a period piece? Which is ironic considering that was like one of the pitches for like the Tim Story Fantastic Four
I think
movie.
that, I think that was the Peyton Reed one. I think actually.
Yep.
But but oh man, like just I mean everything I'm seeing about it's got me excited. But you can not fault people for being nervous after what happened with this.
They could literally just have the thing making like armpit farts and it'd still be 10 times better than whatever they did with the 2015 movie.
Anyway, but like I said though, I'm really excited for it. I'm hearing good word of mouth for it, and this we actually going to get instead of a fart cloud, we actually will get the proper Devourer of Worlds.
Oh yes, they show that the big stomping feet in the trailer. I went like, "That's how you do it. That is how you commit."
And
In fact, that's actually one of the quotes I made for the Anthony Garb. I fucking cannot say his name for the life of me. The
call him Ant.
dude that makes all the video essays. Like, like to quote Dr. Cox from Scrubs, they did not commit. COMMI Tay 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 Tay. Hey.
But it looks like they're committing the idea. Pedro Pascal looks charming. Everyone, but the thing looks great. Joseph Quinn. It makes me laugh that Joseph Quinn and Pedro Pascal were in Gladiator like the year prior. So when I see him ranting at Pascal, it's funny. Like, Johnny, stop thinking you're an emperor.
Yeah, I also the big thing I'm excited for is that they came out and said like New Storm the Invisible Woman is gonna have a more uh leadership kind of role to Fantastic Four. And of course people were bemoaning and growing like, oh great, they're gonna have the girl boss thing. And I'm sitting here like grabbing their bag of colors and say, I would rather have a girl boss Sue Storm than one who cannot be allowed to act, remote, or do anything fucking significant like the two previous attempts did.
So, look, things are looking up on that. And um, like I says, it looks like they're not have a whole lot of baggage. There's no homework going into it. Even the
And the biggest thing I feel is that they actually finally got the Predator Master superheroes, but they also got the family aspect. Because when you get right down to it, the biggest strength of the Fantastic Four is that they're a found family. Family by blood through Johnny and Sue, family by marriage with Sue, and family by circumstance with Ben Grimm joining the among them as like their being that's in the same coincidental. Wait, you get what I'm saying? It's
he's the big uncle,
family by blood, marriage, and uh,
found family.
yeah, found family.
But yeah, like I said though, I'm excited. I'm hearing good things, but like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if the last one made everyone gun shy. But the bar is in hell right now. It doesn't have much of a bar to pass to be better than what came before.
All you have to do is, well, basically, they've already done that. We don't have to wait 50 minutes before they get their powers. We aren't meandering around in like dark corridors or have like people ever. Oh, that's another thing with the Fantastic movie. Everybody gets a fucking asshole, even like fucking fifth graders assholes.
Like, maybe Doom had a point. But
Yeah,
like I said though, no Doctor Doom this time around, so we're saving that for Doomsday. RDJ, balls
I
in
would
your
bet
court.
you they're probably. I bet I know they probably said no. There's no tease for RDJ. We both know that they're gonna have an after credits tease to the guy. There's no way they're not gonna do that.
Anyways, like friggin' Andrew Garfield. I'm not the werewolf. I'm not in this. Right, Andrew. Right.
Yeah, sure it wasn't.
But yeah. Anyway, we just wanted to revisit our history with the old ones. I think we've purged all our demons out of the thing. I know it was more for you than me because I don't really have that strong opinion on it. It's just a nothing movie for me to really.
I remember when you were going to make the thumbnails. You originally were planning to have me in the comic Victor Von Doom outfit, raging at a DVD of Fan Four Stick, burning it. Pretty much like a callback to when I had my emotional rage against Notpool from X-Men Origins Wolverine in our extrospective.
I mean, there's some good things about Origins at least, like Victor, but
Yeah,
none of that here. It's
nope.
just enough. It's a void. This movie's just a void.
I literally said in that rant while you were kind of walked away. That movie was literally the anti-life equation.
Darkseid would probably love this movie then. But yeah, anyway, so it's getting a little bit
Let's
violent on
see
my
here.
end. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
If I see a comic accurate Doom on screen, I might scream harder than I did with Ghidorah. Kidding, kidding, but also be happy. Anyway, you were saying?
Uh, I don't know. Like
Oh, were you asking me about any feelings?
yeah.
I, I'm not condoning it, but I am going to definitely find a way to get myself a copy of the Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie, so I can definitely have that in my collection in place of the Fan Four Stick movie.
Oh, all right then. All right then. And like I says, if you can find a way to find it, watch the Corman film. The story films are just fine, and Fan 4 stayed a hell away. Just no. Dead inside. Do not enter.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Also, actually, before we wrap it up, I think we didn't even actually give praise to Michael Chiklis the fact that he was adamant to do a physical suit. I think that's the reason why most people were kind of like wanting to go back to revisit the 10 story movies, because at least they said, you know what, at the very least they made the thing practical. That's not something we're going to take away from those movies. They did the thing practically very, very well done.
and
It's just the new Marvel MCU one does look way more comic accurate and pretty damn good compared to that. So
my friend just can't get over the fact that he doesn't have a rocky voice. Just regular calm voice coming out of that big rocky body.
at least he's still kind and just actively ready to be a good uncle.
And hell,
Also,
also
apparently he's gonna have a rock beard. Anyways,
anyway, so anyway, we'll definitely be back again to talk about first steps. I'm really excited for that. But we wanted to get this out of the way, a little looking back at the original. So uh, I don't have anything else to add. This is Johnny Cat 79, aka Chris, signing off with my usual co-host Erica, aka Dark Neon.
oh, this is also definitely a long time coming. Until next time, true believers, Excelsior!
Catch you at the next one.